Theo Waite, and my job title, according to my contract, is Director of Operations at Lichess.
I'm Luca Bonnet, or Lucas. I am the president of the chess charity called Lichess, and I'm also sysadmin.
My name is Chris. I do content things. We're very bad with formal titles at Lichess.
Hello, my name is Sam. I started doing work with Lichess in 2021, and I do development work on the Lichess website.
I am Thanh. I'm a developer, and as a developer, I contribute for Lichess with my expertise.
I have been involved with Lichess for about a year now. I was invited as a mod, and I was really happy about it.
I'm Fishy Vishy. I've been volunteering for Lichess for 6 years, and I forgot the question.
Lichess, is a non-profit and mainly volunteer-run. So this creates some kind of challenges when we're operating in a very much for-profit sort of environment and for-profit sort of world.
We have a very high level of donations, I think, and people from all over the world donate to Lichess to keep it running.
I always try to contribute something back to Lichess.
Many other websites would use you basically to run ads and make profit.
I really like the way that Lichess has handled a lot of the issues with women in chess, and I really appreciate the blog posts that you guys have done surrounding that.
There's also a lot of opportunities and positives to Lichess as well, pretty much purely because it is a non-profit. It has the best interests of its users at heart.
I really value that Lichess is on open source, because it's available for everyone and also free for everyone.
I think Lichess honestly is a gift to the chess community.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Lichess broadcast commentary of Round 4, the Louis Chess Legends 2024 in Trondheim, Norway. I'm your host, Irene Sukandar, and I'm so happy to be here today. Today is actually a very rainy, cold day here in Trondheim. I have my hot coffee here with me to accompany me throughout the commentary. But hopefully, everyone in the playing hall right now is ready to play their games, and actually they already have a liftoff. They already have started the games, so we will dive in right to the games after some general information about the tournaments. Let me remind you again that this tournament has a 9-round Swiss system. They are using the FIDE Dutch accelerated Swiss system, and we are so honored to have the venue at the Archbishop Palace here in Trondheim. It is adjacent to the Nidaros Cathedral, a very historic cathedral for the country's history. And the time control is 90 minutes plus 30 seconds, but they will have another 30 minutes addition time in move 40 first. So they have to complete 40 moves first before getting the additional time control. And the prize fund is 28 and 400 euros. It is the same prize money for both in the open and women. And also on this tournament, we have 2 other groups. So not only the open group, but also we have the under 2200 groups and the Nordic Senior Championship group. So this is very important. You'll see so many aspiring, experienced players playing in this group, including Grandmaster Juan Belon Lopez, who did he win? I think he won yesterday. Yeah, so he might be on 3 out of 3. But let's take a look at the standings for the open section. We have only one player with perfect score, a Grandmaster from Hungary, Grandmaster Bence Korpa with 3 out of 3. And we have a lot of 2.5 pointers, Marius Duer, Frodo Urkedal, Toivo Kenanen, Jovar Gretarsson, Jan Ludwighammer, and Afsult Miak Marsuren. And also, I am so happy to also announce we have one lady in the leader board as well, Sheila Barf Stanford, scoring 2.5 and scoring another impressive draw yesterday against a very strong international master from Sweden. And today we're going to see round number 4 and almost halfway towards the tournament. And for the first board, here I think we're going to see a very interesting opposition from Hammer versus Spencer Korper, the leader of the tournament so far. And on the second board, we will see Grandmaster Frode Urkedal versus Jovar Gretarsson. And on the third board, Marius Duer versus Toivo Kenanen. And on the fourth board, we have Sebastian Bogner versus Isaac Stormer. And on the fifth board, we have Elham Amar versus Sheila Bart Stanford. Okay, I think, yeah, today's pretty cold outside, and we had a side event every day here, and today it was the Blitz, which I happy to be participating in it, and I think on overall result I got 4th place, which is not bad, not bad for a commentator. But okay, since the games have started already, let's take a look, and we can always circle back to any of the players. But let's see first the first and second boards, and here we have 2 Grandmasters matchups on the first and second board. So on the first board, we have actually, let me set the board. There you go. Okay, Hammer versus Korpa, and d4 happened. So Hammer chose to play d4 this time, knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, d5, takes d5, and instead of taking d5 with the pawn, like what we used to see in the Queen's Gambit exchange, and probably going to the crossbar structure here, Black took the pawn with the knight, and after e4, knight c3, bc3, c5. So, well, there are so many games in this line which lead to a draw. After knight f3 here, usually it goes like takes here, bishop b4, bishop d2, takes here, and castle. White is objectively better here, maybe slightly better, but yeah, this is a very common example to make a draw early in the game, because there's nothing much going on this variation. But in the camera I see some moves have been played, so let's take a look. The last move that we saw was knight f3 here, and indeed Black took cd4, bishop b4 happened, bishop d2, and soon we have the same like what we predicted before, bishop takes d2, queen takes d2, and oh, castle hasn't happened yet, but it's gonna come anyway. There you go. Korpa just castled his king, and we have exactly the same variation that we have on the board. Okay, yeah, my prediction, this probably just going to lead to a quick draw. So let's go to see what happened in the second board. It's also 2 Grandmasters matchup here. e4 was the choice by Frodo for the first move. e5, knight f3, knight c6, and bishop b5. And knight f6. Okay, so Gretarsson was trying to play the Berlin here in fighting Urkedal to play the main Berlin, but castle was just happened on the board, and knight takes e4, rook e1, knight d6, and a4. So this is one of the sideline in Berlin where we will not see the famous repetition to make a draw in Berlin like what we usually saw in the online blitz or bullet. And here d4. And yeah, I think it is still pretty much in the theory book. There's a few adjustments Gretarsson made there, and it's gonna be still quite a long game. Yeah, we just started about 10 minutes ago, and everyone is still in the theory book. Okay, we can always circle back to the top boards. Now let's get to the third board. It's between Marius Duer versus Toivo Kenainen. d4 e6 it's a very interesting choice of first move of e6 because it is also telling you that the black player also plays French defense because it is invitation to play second move e4 here, and then there you go. Even though we started out with d4, somehow we see a French defense on the board. But here, Marius Dewar stick to his preparation and he played c4. Bishop b4, it is also another interesting choice of move by Kenainen because it is not a Nimzo Indian, it is not a Queen's Gambit yet, and probably with this Bishop b4, I think it's the Bogo Indian. And after Bishop d2, Bishop takes d2, Queen takes d2. Yeah, for those who might be surprised why Queen takes d2 and Knight f6, eventually this Queen will go to c2 anyway. Why not taking it with the Knight? Because in such a position, this type of position, the Knight belongs on c3. So it would be better to waste a tempo like that with the Queen instead of with the Knight, because you can always put the Queen on your desired square anytime you want. But for the Knight, it's gonna take a while to get to the place where it wants. So Queen takes d2, Knight f6. I think Knight c3 would be the most natural move here to play. And oh, by the way, Marius Dewar is the one in the far end of the camera wearing the red t-shirt. So it can be anything now. Knight c3 is nice. You also want to play Queen c2 with the idea of e4. I think this is also fine. Another idea is to play Knight f3, but then you have to be prepared of a move like d5 or even like Knight e4 first and then d5. So I mean, white is up for many choices here. Or if you actually change your way of playing, probably also g3 is possible, so that you can have the fianchetto bishop on g2, probably getting to a pseudo Catalan type of position. Probably Marius is a Catalan player anyway, so he can opt to this option as well. But he chose to play Knight c3, which is of course the most natural move on the board. And now after castle, now here comes the options again, whether he will play e4, whether he will play e3, or another waiting move Knight f3, because the Knight belongs on f3 anyway. Sooner or later you will play Knight f3, so you might as well play it now while waiting for your opponent's idea. Also, I mentioned earlier g3 with Bishop g2. Those plans are totally playable and very sound. Now it's up to Marius' taste on which one that he's going to pick in this position. Okay, let's come down to the fourth board. On the fourth board, we have Sebastian Bogner versus Isak Stormer from Sweden. And we have here is a red position, d3, and then yeah, this can come to many variation again. d3 is there, so probably, of course, in the red you would like to put your knight on d2, then e4, probably going to e5, and depends on how black plays out this position. Okay, they are still pretty much in the preparation, or maybe trying to outplay their opponent in the preparation, choosing their own line and variation. Let's go to the fifth board. Here we have Elham Amar versus Sheila Stanford, who is on 2.5 out of 3. And wow, we are seeing a Sicilian position here. Interesting. This is always my favorite, to see a Sicilian game on the board. And she started this game with a knight off, and f3 was played. And I think yesterday I spoke in length about the choices that white has on the sixth move, and I think we came up to how many moves? Like 13, like 15 moves, 15 different moves. Yeah, and I also, it was not all, like I forgot to include a few other moves as well. Here Almar chose to play f3. This one is very, very interchangeable with the bishop e3 variation, because you might play bishop e3 first, you might play f3 first, but the only idea about f3, not bishop e3 first, is you are not allowing the variation of knight g4 happens on the board. Because here you can actually come back here probably, and then f3 later, and then you can just also come back, and then eventually you play f3. But here I might choose to play f3 first, and after e5 you gotta move your knight, and after that bishop e3. Knight bd7, queen d2. Okay, here black has so many variations as well. Bishop e7 being main line, of course, but these days people are also playing the idea of h5 move and playing g6 afterwards, and it doesn't mean that the bishop will go to g7, but that's just the way how people play these days. I'm just curious on how are they going to continue this variation, and which variation actually that they're going to pick, because it is going to be totally interesting. So Sheila is in the corner end of the camera wearing a green blouse there, still trying to pick which variation that she's gonna play in this one. A move like rook c8 was totally playable as well, but yeah, let's see which one that she's going to pick. And next to her, Boris Shatalbashev is taking black pieces against one of the juniors, Myanmar Suren Afsult. And what is going on? I think it's coming from the perch more than defense. Is it perch or perk? Yeah. Alright, so e4 g6, d4 bishop g7, knight c3 d6, bishop g5 c6, and queen d2. b5. So yeah, this is still pretty much in the book, yeah. White is trying to attack on the king side, and black meanwhile try to attack on the queen side. Try to make this counter attack is always very good. f4, b4, and knight went to d1, knight d7, knight f3. Okay, this is going to be interesting. I have a feeling this is going to be interesting. I don't know where this king will castle though, because I think in this type of position I would personally put my king to the king side like this, but I'm not gonna be surprised if our young player here, Myanmar Suren, will choose to play long castle at some point, because well, usually as a young player you would like to attack, and there you go. We might actually see a very exciting battle here between two generations here. So it's kind of like a clash of generations. Actually, how old is Myanmar Suren? Because he looks really young. Let me take a look. So Myanmar Suren, he was born in 2010. So he's still, this year he's gonna be, or maybe he already turned 14. And wow, and Shatalbashev is a very experienced grandmaster, originally from Bulgaria, but already for a few years he's been playing for Denmark. So here he played rook b8, and yeah, I think all this move with b4, rook b8, it might discourage white to play the long castle. So we'll see which one is going to happen. Okay. I always like to circle back, but let's see some of our friends' games who are yet make it to the top boards, yeah, because well, the game is still long. We still have, today is round 4, after this we still have 5 more games, and yeah, the tournament is still 5 games, and they definitely have many chances to make it to the top boards, yeah. So who we would like to see here? Oh, yesterday I had Eric Rosen in my stream, so let's take a look. Let's take a look his game. He is playing against Olga Prudnikova from Iceland, and I think Olga has 2 points. Let me check. Oh, Olga actually has the same points as Eric's, one and a half. Yeah. So let me see if I can get Eric on my camera. Let's get into my camera journey here, looking at the venue. And let me remind you again, the venue is used to be like the coronation room for the kings of Norway. So you see how important this tournament is, being held in this palace, the Archbishop Palace, and it's connected to a very rich history of the country as well. Okay, we can zoom it in. And I think our favorite grandmaster from the Nordic senior group, Juan Manuel Bellon Lopez, was also like on the way of the camera, so we can actually take a look at his game later while the camera is pointing to that direction. So okay, there you go. On the camera we see Eric is playing black. Okay, yeah, he was white yesterday. And Olga Prudnikova is playing with white pieces. This is going to be interesting. E4, C5. Okay, so in this tournament, Eric started with this Sicilian. Knight F3, E6, D4, C takes D4, Knight takes D4, Knight C6, Knight C3, Queen C7, Taimanov. I think this is one of his favorite as well. Bishop E3, A6, and Queen F3. This is the train D line against Taimanov. Okay, I'm so happy to see this on the board as well, because it shows that both players are preparing something to show us some masterful endgame, not endgame, masterful game. And probably we're gonna see the endgame of this one, right? So we'll see. And here Eric played B5, E5. Wow, okay, very, very brave, right? Okay, E5 is untouchable, so it is not a gambit at this point, because if you take this, takes everything, and then the rook on A8 will be lost. And you cannot take it with the knight, of course, because this rook still is under attack indirectly, so you cannot take E5. And here that's why Eric played Bishop B7. So next move he might want to take it with the knight. And okay, I am a bit curious on the decision making of the players sometimes. We can also see that from their time management, because in such a move like E5, okay, so white has been spending some time then. Hang on. So after Queen F3, okay, she has been playing all the 7 moves quite confidently. And then after B5, she took some time, 13 minutes to play E5. Okay. And then 3 minutes to take on C6. That's a bit worrying me, because she might not prepare this line, but she might just try it out on the game. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. The only way to find out is to ask her directly why she took 13 minutes to play E5, and yeah, maybe she's just double checking everything. Yeah, because if it's still within the preparation, I don't think she would take that long. Okay, Knight C6 is on the board. Usually in this type of position, you wouldn't like to play E5. In fact, you keep the diagonal open for your queen, so that you can try to exchange it. There are so many lines after Queen F3 that you just put your queen to G3 like this and offering the exchange, and white will be having like a slightly better position without the queens on the board. So, but that didn't happen. Because E5 was already played out, and after Bishop B7, Knight takes C6, Bishop takes C6. This should be still fine for white, but it's just that I think it's killing the purpose of playing Queen F3 anyway, because you would like to attack on the king's side, but now after like a few moves, the bishop is already on C6. I don't think black has any problem anymore. So probably if I were white in this position after B5, I'm not too worried about B4 anyway, because I can always put my knight to A4, and having the bishop on E3 is going to be very useful, because I can undermine the B6 square. So probably in this position, I have to check the theory though. But I mean, even if I don't know exactly what the theory says on this position, I can just castle here. I mean, just try to be consistent of the idea of Queen F3, because usually after Queen F3, 90% of the games that I saw, you're just going to go long castle. And also, what can happen here after b4? I don't know. Another idea after knight d5 is always come to mind, but it might not work here. But this is also, it's always helpful to have some typical ideas for certain situations, so that you can use it, whenever the opportunity occurs on the board. So if not, then let's say black played bishop b7, like what we saw on this game. Then okay, queen g3. I think this is pretty much okay for white. And or if not, then a move like bishop d3 maybe, or bishop d3, knight e5. Okay, then we might have to be a bit careful here. Yeah, I like getting my rook here so that I can use this knight d5 idea. But anyway, bishop b7, knight takes c6, and bishop takes c6. Okay, where does this queen go? If you want to be consistent, I think you have to go queen g3, because this pawn is now hanging. But where else can you go apart from queen g3? If you put the knight on e4 like this, I don't know. This doesn't look great. Probably what I would do is... Oh, this is hanging. Sorry, what am I talking about? The pawn on e5 is hanging, so you cannot do that. Yeah. So I think she doesn't have much options here. I think she has to resort to queen g3 anyway. But then after queen g3, one way is to get this knight out, probably to e7, because this knight is helpless. I mean, it would be a dream for white to put the knight on d6, but there's no way to do it because this bishop is guarding the e4 square, and then this knight after knight e7 is aiming to go to f5. Let's say bishop goes here. I think this knight can actually still go to g6, something like that. A move just happened, I saw from the camera. Yes, she played queen g3. I think this is the best reaction to the position. Okay, I think in this position Eric will think for a bit, because the position is not that complicated yet, but he has a few options in how to develop his pieces. Oh, also one other thing is, having the bishop on c6 now, white has to be afraid of b4 actually. Yeah. Because now after b4, the knight no longer able to occupy a4. I think the knight has to come back, like to e2, or I don't know. If you want to make some weird maneuver to b1 and then to d2, it will take some time, but maybe that's the way to go. But of course, black is not forced to do that yet. I still prefer to get these pieces out. Knight g7, for example, to f5, or to, oh, maybe knight here. That's great, because now after bishop d3, kind of preventing knight f5, and now you can push this pawn, and when this knight is out from c3, let's say going to e2, black can play knight d5. Maybe that's black. That's how black should play. But okay. Eric has lots of time on the clock. He can figure it out. White is still also very active. Yeah, I mean, both players have to be very careful still. This is Sicilian anyway, and the nature of Sicilian is of course attacking. And but who's attacking who? We'll find out after a few moves. On board 15, it's my favorite player of the tournament, Pia Cramling, playing against Trygve Dahl. He is the son of the organizer, Torbjörn Dahl here. So Pia is also on 1.5 out of 3. So if I can get her on the camera, 1 second. Where is Pia? Oh, there you go. There is Pia. Yeah, we have a clear shot to her. Okay. Yes. There is Pia. Pia is thinking right now, and soon let's take a look what's happening on her game. So Pia is playing white, and she is known as a very consistent d4 player. And knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3, and bishop b4. So yeah, many players these days they choose to play the Bogo Indian It's kind of like a sideline, but it is very playable. Like it is quite dangerous if you don't know what to do. Like black can equalize the game easily. Knight bd2, castle, a3, bishop e7. And I think I also mentioned in other games that this knight belongs to c3. So probably at some way, or maybe when the knight is already on d2 right now, we can try to alternate our plan, especially by putting the pieces accordingly. So the queen will go to c2, probably trying to not well, e5 is very brave, but yes, the pawn will go to e4, possibly to e5 if black allows, and probably this bishop will just get out from b2. So this pawn on b2 will somehow get to b3 or b4. So let's see. Oh, he played Pia played it immediately b4. So she's being very straightforward with where the bishop is going right now. It's gonna go to b2, b6, bishop b2, bishop b7, e3. Yes, you cannot play e4 anymore because those two pieces are aiming towards the e4 square. And after e3, d6, bishop d3. I like how Pia is playing here because she is waiting for this queen. Normally you would like to put it on c2, but with her current setup right now, I'm not going to be surprised if she's going to put it on e2 and allowing all those rooks on c1 and d1. Yeah, I think it's a nice setup. So c5 was already on the board, but this type of confrontation can easily be ignored by white, so that's why she just castled. And knight bd7. Okay, now she has option. I'm pretty sure she's gonna play a queen move here. Yeah, or yeah, I'm not believe that she's gonna play e4 here because this is going to be, if e4 happens, then somehow we're going to see like the hedgehog variation in Sicilian, where after taking this, this is like the hedgehog. And you just play rook c8 and probably queen to c7 at some point, a6. This is objectively better for white, but hedgehog, the nature of hedgehog is black is going to just wait and then try to improve the pieces from the back ranks little by little, and possibly using the idea of the Fischer, Bobby Fischer playing king h8, rook g8, g5, something like that. So. And Pia herself is actually a Sicilian player as black, but I don't think this is going to happen. I don't think she's going to allow this position to transpose to a Sicilian position. And yes, she played queen e2. So I think that was the whole idea why she's been delaying the queen move, because I thought queen c2 was kind of automatic, but then after a few moves she put the bishop on d3. Yeah, queen e2 of course is making sense, a lot of sense right now. And then she's a very solid player, so she's gonna put all the rooks on the c1 and then d1 and perhaps some little move like h3 before really finding the concrete way to continue this position. But black is very solid as well. In this position, queen e2, I think black should be aiming to play d5 at some point. So I don't know if the inclusion of rook c8 would be better in black's position or not, because this is a move that is very automatic, like very natural to do as well. But yeah, at some point I think d5 has to be played, because I think this is the way to go. You have to create more confrontation in the center. So if we play d5 now, I think this might be just okay for black. Because if you take this, takes this, I don't see a good way for white to continue here. But probably, of course, this position, I think normally white would be still slightly better. But we'll see which one that Trygve will choose in this position. Everything is still on the board. There's still no exchanges of pieces or pawns yet. Everything is still on the board, so it is going to be quite a headache to think about all sort of combinations that might occur in the game. All right, and who are we going to see next? I just see it from the timeline on my Lichess screen right now. there is a very huge time difference that is played by one of my friends here, Savita Shri, also on 1.5. Wow, I think this is coming from the three knights, the knight g5 opening in the Italian. Let me see if I can get her on the screen. So she's playing. Okay, that is the venue. I don't know where she's sitting. If I could get where she's sitting, but okay, let's take a look. Probably she's on the right side. I think she. Okay, I couldn't get a clear view of her. So let's just stick to the venue, the camera venue. And meanwhile, while I'm still doing this camera stuff, I'm just gonna get ready to see our leader in the senior group. 1 second. I almost get it. Okay. Let's take a look at the game. E4, E5, knight F3, knight C6, bishop C4, knight F6, and knight G5. Yep. Takes, knight F5, bishop B5, and C6. Okay, takes, and everything is still within the theory. Okay, here, a little opening lesson. White can play bishop d3, white can play bishop e2. I think in the old Melon was bishop e2. Some of the players also play bishop f1. Also, if you want to be brave, you can play queen f3 in this position. So white has, yeah, a few options. But bishop d3 these days has become the main line for white in this variation. And knight d5, attacking the knight on g5, but you're not going to retreat that knight. In fact, you're just going to put h4. This is also the way to go. And after h6, queen h5. So in this position, there is one, how do we call it? Like the not professional draw, grandmaster draw, but not only grandmasters do this type of draws. Okay, or friendly draw. Okay, maybe we can call it friendly draw. You know, all those draws that you can see in Berlin, you can see it in Exchange Slav, and many other openings. Actually, when I'm trying to call all these openings, suddenly I forget. But anyway, in this position, there's this idea, queen f6, because you want to stop queen f7, of course, and then just play like knight e4, and then you can come back actually, or queen e6. Queen e6 was the move. Yeah, queen e6, and then come back knight g5, and then here. So just one tip for you: if you want to make a friendly draw with your friend, you can go for this line, and this is totally how to say, not normal, but more like this is very common. Yeah, if you're playing this Italian with 3 knights, knight g5 variation, which is supposed to be a very sharp variation in Italian, where you just have to memorize and understand tons of stuff, because the idea is white has a pawn up, but black is going to attack. Okay, queen h5 is on the board. I think I had a game like this just a few months ago. I was playing black, but did I play h6 in this position? No, I didn't play h6. I played bishop e7. Yeah, I think I played bishop e7. Actually, I can check there. Yeah, I mean, even if you know this variation, sometimes it can be quite confusing which one is which, because all the variations sometimes, you know, they look alike. Okay, what did I do actually? No, I play bishop. Okay, h4, bishop e7, and queen f3. Okay, my opponent played queen f3 in this position. Yep. And then I play f5. Okay, so it is a little bit different variation, and then yeah, bishop takes f5 here, and then I think I play f8. Yes, and then okay, this is actually you can see many games like this. Okay, and then king d7 looks crazy, right? White has how many pawns for the piece? 4 pawns for the piece, but this is playable. This is playable as long as you have like good memory. You have to keep yeah, you have to keep remembering all your moves. Not okay, this is move 14. I think you still have to remember like the next 10 moves, what to do in this type of position, because white can play anything, black can also play anything, and then who's going to win? Yeah, you never know. The winner is the one who has better memory and better understanding, of course. But queen h5 is on the board, and yeah, I was a bit amazed with the time management by the black player here, Peter Ahmad, because it's such a huge gap. Savita didn't spend any minute. She in fact gained her time on her clock, but Peter here, is it Peter, like Peter? I don't even know how to pronounce it differently, like with the D or with the T, like Peter. Okay, sounds the same. Yeah, he's now down to 55 minutes. Probably trying to recollect his memory, like what should I do in this position? Because yeah, this is actually very dangerous. If you forget, if you don't remember your preparation or this line, this can be quite dangerous. So let's wish him the best of luck. First of all, he has to remember first. Okay, I promised us the game of the leader of the Nordic senior group, Grandmaster Juan Manuel Belen Lopez. Yeah. Okay, which one is the game? Okay, there you go. And here, let me switch the camera. Yes, Juan is the one with the hat playing with black pieces there. So let's take a look what's happening on the game. So we have an English, and soon we have a Queen's Gambit exchange. Knight f6, knight f3, c6, g3, bishop d6. Oh, this is actually a dubious line to play g3 in this position, because normally you want to fianchetto your bishop like that when you really have an aim on that diagonal, but these pawns are already stopping anything to do in that diagonal, so g3 shouldn't be the most accurate move in this position. I think you can resort to anything, like of course bishop g5 is the main move. Some players play bishop f4, some players play queen c2 just to stop bishop f5, but yeah, definitely not g3. And here after bishop d6, bishop g2, castle, and rook e8. So yeah, that's why g3 is not the most accurate move, because you'd like to have the bishop here. This is a better diagonal for the bishop, but the game is still young, so probably there should be some twists and turns in this game. h6, bishop takes f6. Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't like how white decided his moves in this position, giving up the 2 bishops for nothing. Yeah, this I think it's positionally just way better for black. Although if you put the computer, I think it's just gonna give like a slight plus for black. I mean, how do you call it actually? If it's computer, it's always like, if it's into black's favor, it's minus something, right? But okay, you know what I mean. Black is slightly better. Yeah, computer gave minus 0.3 for black, but in practical way, it's way easier, and maybe it's way bigger than 0.3, because black will play with lots of plans in this position, like easy plans, but white, I don't see any plan in this position. Okay, for example, usually in this type of position, white will try to attack from the queen side, and with the minority attack. We call it minority attack because white has less pawns than blacks in the queen side, but it is actually how people continue. Like you play rook b1 here, and then b4, a4, and then just attack like that. But in this position, I think with the absence of the dark square bishop, yeah, I don't think black can do that. In fact, maybe, yeah, white cannot do that. Maybe black here also can just play like b5, a5, all these moves, you know. I think it is totally fine because dark square bishop probably is not much needed in this position, but at least you should try to trade it with this bishop, not this knight. So I have an early prediction on this game, like black might win this smoothly. Oh yeah, and we have a 15-minute delay on the stream, so yeah, what you're watching right now is the 15-minute from the 15 minutes ago. Yeah, we are enforcing this rule for the anti-cheating measures, so yeah, that's why I cannot really interact with the chat. Okay, and I have another friend too in this tournament, Phoebe. So Phoebe, I think she won the first game, but then she lost 2 games after that. Let's see if I get it right. Okay, where's Phoebe? Yeah, she has 1 point right now, and she's playing in the under 2200 group. I think she's been playing well. Yeah. So let's see her game, and if I can get her on the camera. Phoebe is playing on the right side, so okay, let me check if I can get the visual. No, I don't think so. Yeah, my view is blocked by other players to her direction. So yeah, we just have to stick with the camera venue for now. Okay, so let's take a look. d4, e6. So yeah, Phoebe is a French player. I mean, she's from the Netherlands, but she plays French defense. So after d4, she's trying to invite her opponent to play the French in case that after d4, e6, the opponent would play e4. But here, Terje Holten played knight f3, d5, and then we see like the normal like Queen's Indian opening. So okay, bishop d3, bishop e7, takes here, b5, a6, okay, we saw this Slav. Oh, c5 immediately. Wait, is this okay? How long does... Okay, she took 9 minutes to play this move. Okay, this is interesting. Because I thought rook c8 is a must, like you have to prepare that one first. But okay, probably let's take a look. c5. If I take this, oh, this one is hanging. Oh, sorry, it's been a long day. I had like 2.5 hours of chess before. Yeah, yeah, this one is hanging, so c5 is definitely playable. So what did her opponent do? Her opponent took on f6, knight takes f6. Yes, this bishop is still hanging, and oops. Okay, this is the current position. Okay, looks like black is equalizing easily in this position. Like black doesn't have any problem anymore. You might take this on the next turn, or you might actually push it to c4. Or, okay, bishop e2. That's very passive. I would keep my bishop on this diagonal, so probably I'll play bishop b1. Yeah, because bishop e2, I don't see the idea. The only thing with bishop e2 is you're preparing for knight e5 and bishop f3, which is also a typical idea, but the position has changed a lot. Like, you don't really gain anything on that diagonal. So bishop b1 would be my choice. Okay, after bishop e2 in this position, I think Phoebe has quite decent options here. I think I'll like c4. Yeah. Just try to have like a majority pawns in the queen side. Like c4 here. And then probably white was preparing for knight e5 in this position, so that bishop f3 can come. But regardless, it's a nice position for Phoebe, so maybe she can actually play knight e4. I don't know. I feel like kicking this knight away by playing f6, you know. I know it might be weakening this pawn, but nothing can actually attack that pawn yet, so I feel safe. Or otherwise, what about if we keep the tension in the center? So we don't do anything about it, but we just put our rook on c8. I think this is also very decent. Like, if you take this, bishop takes, and then, yeah, the bishop is now alive. And probably you would like to get the queen here, rook here. Okay, black is way superior. Okay, now I'm liking rook c8 better. Yeah, you don't have to do anything with it. And also, you're making it harder for white to play knight e5, because now the pawn on d4 is hanging. So, okay, rook c8 would be my choice. And by the way, I think Phoebe is also streaming on her own channel. She has few different hosts from time to time. Let me check who is the host. Last time it was my friend Joe Brun. This time, who is the host? Blood Queen. Okay, so shout out to Blood Queen and Phoebe with channel and all the chats over there. And let's go back to which one did we want to see? Okay, I still have my camera on Eric and Pia. So before we circle back to the top boards after the break, let's check how they are doing first. So yeah, let me adjust the camera a little bit. So that is Eric. Oops. Against Olga Pertikova. And what did we see after queen g3 here? Oh, Eric just to play b4. Okay, that is one of the moves that that we analyzed before. I personally like knight e7 just because I like to get my pieces out, but b4 was also not a bad choice. Knight e2, h5. Oh, this is something that I missed. Okay, so let's see. h4, knight h6. Ah, that's a very cunning way to develop the knight. I thought the knight is only able to go via e7 so that you can go to f5 or g6, but okay, Eric found another way to develop it. Knight h6, knight d4. Yes, this is knight. I mean, this knight is a good knight on d4 right now. Very centralized. I like it. Wow, knight g4. Okay. I'm actually quite an old-fashioned player. Like, I like everything very clean, very tidy. So a move like this is too abstract for me. Okay, so he took on c6, queen takes c6, and this is the current position. Yeah, I don't mind playing white pieces in this position, to be honest, but okay. Probably it is to black's favor after all these trades, yeah? Because now This one is hanging, so my idea would be to play bishop d3, and I don't think you want to take this because the knight is pretty good there on g4. So probably bishop here, just leaving one. Yeah, probably bishop c5 is the move. Yeah, offering another trade, and then later the game will have knight versus bishop. But here Olga played castle. I think it's pretty strong as well. Oh, that's actually a cute move. I forgot that c2 can also be protected by the king. So just castle, yeah. But here, if anything with rook c8, white will always have bishop d3. So I think white is still fine, but always has, yeah, white has always, actually black has to be careful too. Because this d7 pawn is going to be like the target of attack. Like black has to get all his pieces connected, because now the rook on h8 is pretty much not doing anything. So yeah, I have a mixed feeling on this setup that Eric chose. It's quite risky, to be honest, because of these two bishops is always meaning something, and this knight, you don't want to trade this knight with this bishop. You want to trade this knight with this. No, you don't want to trade this knight. You want to trade this bishop with this bishop. That's the idea. Okay, and let's see how Pia is doing. And I can move the camera to her side. Where is Pia? Yeah, she should be there. Yeah. So I think we left it quite some time ago after queen e2. Oh, a5. A5. Do I like this move? Probably not. Yeah, what's wrong with d5 in this position? I think d5 is more like it. Because a5, okay, let's see how the game goes. D takes c5. Okay, a takes b4, takes c5, takes here. And b5, yeah, I mean, white has a pass pawn for, I mean, it's like a pass pawn. I mean, I thought black would have some compensation for that, but there's no compensation in this position. Okay, d5, it's a very typical response to this position. But probably a little bit too late now, because I can just, I mean, white can just ignore it and maybe play rook a1 here. I think rook a1 is what Pia will play. Okay, I'm just wondering, like in this position, which move is better? Like it is also a training for me, because I'd like to not only commentate but also try to compare. Oh, d5. Actually, f5 was not bad, but d5 is the best move. So okay, whew. I think if my boss Theo watches this, I still can keep my job, right? I'm still suggesting the best move. Okay, yeah, d5. I mean, it's very typical play to play d5 in this position. You just want to create more tension in the center. f5, yeah, the way how it turned out, I think it's making it easy for white. No, rook a1 hasn't been played yet. Pia is still thinking, as we see on the camera. But how do you call it in Twitch? Like, you can bet your channel points for this move, rook a1. I think it's gonna happen anyway. Okay. I think it is calling for a break right now. We can come back to Pia after the break. I'm also very curious on how she's going to continue this position. So I'll see you in a bit. Hello, welcome back to the Lichess broadcast commentary of Lewis Chess Legends 2024 from Trondheim, Norway, live from the dungeon. No, it's not a dungeon. I'm just being. It's an underground. It's a king's room here where I am. That's why the wall behind me that you see, it's not artificial. It's actually real. Probably it should be coming from like more than 100 years ago. So, yeah, it is that mystical here in this room. Anyway, let's circle back to the top boards because I see a very interesting decision making here by Hammer. Because I genuinely thought that this game would end with a quick draw. Because usually if black already signifies to play knight takes d5 like this, like black is not looking for anything big, and instead black would be happy with a draw. That's why for most players who are still trying to play for the 3-result game, they're gonna take it with a pawn. But with this knight, it looks like white is just going to be a bit better. But here, okay, time situation. After bishop b4, everything was still according to many games and theory books. And then after castle, here Hammer already took such a long time to think, to decide rook c1. It looks like this move is quite natural, of course, that you can just play it without thinking so much. But yeah, this type of position, you should come up with a plan. And I think for the next coming moves, it is clear to me that Hammer is trying to play for a win still, which is good. I like the spirit a lot because as you can see after rook c1, knight c6, a common move. You just want to get your pieces out. And then the next move is h4. This is a very nice idea because, well, you see h4 is already on the board. It means that white is there to attack the king. And here black replied with queen b6. Actually, Korpa here, he didn't take such a long time to think, to decide queen b6. Oh, okay, Hammer just played e5. Suddenly it is becoming automatic here. And the time situation, as you can see, they have about 40 minutes difference. It is quite a huge gap. So, yeah, this e5, usually in this type of position, it's almost looking like a Grunwald position when there is an h5 variation, but of course in Grunwald, instead of e6, it is g6. So it's just one slightly different there, but I think it's gonna having like a similar ideas on how to continue this. So yeah. Usually with this e5, you would like to stop the bishop from g7 to somehow get out, but now there is no more bishop on g7, and Korpa just played a move. What did he do? I think rook d8 should be coming. Yes, he just played rook d8. So yeah, I think they can all just borrow the ideas on the Grunwald position for both white and black because it's quite similar. The only difference is only the pawn on g7. Yeah, to be honest, I think this is a better version for black because if the pawn was on g6, having the pawn on h5 and opening up the h file is going to be very dangerous for black. So now while the pawn is still on g7, you just don't want to move it. Maybe black will be just wait until the pawn moves to h6 and then black can move to g6. And that way you kind of closing your own defense while at the same time also focusing your attention to the center and on the queen side. Okay, Hammer is already taking so much time on the clock for the first 13 moves, especially the last 3 moves. So hopefully a move like rook d8 actually should come into your mind like automatically. It should be like the first move that you see that your opponent might play anyway, because that's very natural. So I think he will not make his next move as long as he did before. So what is the idea here? Rook is aiming towards d4, So probably you have to just protect d4 by doing what? Actually, that's a question for me, but okay, how do we do this? Because knight takes d4 is going to come. If you play rook c4 here, there's queen b1. And if rook c1 again, there's queen e4. Or probably after this you play queen e3. So I think it would be depending on whether black wants to keep playing on or black wants to just make a draw. Because if black wants to make a draw after rook c4 and queen b1 and rook c1, he can just come back to b6 again. Okay, so I think this is the moment of truth. Okay, because rook c4 probably is needed. I don't see a reason why Hammer would play rook d1 here. Because he just moved the rook to c1. So I think he might have to be consistent. Having the rook on c1, I think he has to move it to c4. And I don't think white can afford losing this pawn because this is a very important pawn. And no other pieces can protect it but the rook. Okay, I think Hammer in the far end of the camera. Unfortunately, we don't have a clear shot to him now because he's being blocked by Orkadal right now. But yeah, he's the one in the white pieces on the far end of the camera. Actually, I'd like to wait because he's not gonna make his move that long as he did before. Okay. While we are waiting and while the camera is still on the first and second board, let's take a look and update ourselves on the second board then. It was Berlin, yeah, and I think the last move that we saw was d4 here, and Gretarsson played e4, takes on e4, and now the material is back to equal, and d5. Rook goes to e3, okay, and then bishop d6. In a way, it looks like it is now a French exchange position, but of course, having the rook on e3 is a bit unusual, because I thought after this, putting the rook back on e1 is kind of what should be done, because now rook e3, bishop d6. The idea is additionally there's bishop f4, and then exchanging this bishop might be into black's favor. But yeah, what do we do here? Knight e5 probably is what Orkadal had in mind. Yeah, stopping bishop f4, but at the same time also trying to control the center. So yeah, knight e5. Then you're also attacking this, so black has to do something with that knight. Bishop d7, knight d7, queen d7, probably. What else? If taking this is actually not so bad. If takes this, and bishop c5, then maybe having the rook here, meaning that it wants to go to g3. Yeah, and the next move probably bishop h6 and so on. So what do we do in this position? Bishop h6 is going to be the threat in this position. One way to stop it is probably just king h8, and I think at some point the bishop has to retreat to d3 and something like that, and trying to attack here, but the queen can always go to here. Okay, it looks pretty equal to me. Yeah, but white is obviously trying to get something out of this position. So knight e5 was just played by Urkadal. Yeah. So one way is to take with the knight, like what we saw before, because I don't like this position. If you take it with the bishop, yeah, you're losing your pair of bishop for nothing. And this bishop, of course, will retreat back to d3 and then attacking to this diagonal. And then now this rook can just go to g3 for free. And since there is no more dark square bishop, you can actually push f4 to protect your central pawn like that. So knight e5 is already on the board. I also don't believe on retreating to the e7 like this. Or probably this is fine, because your idea is you just want to put it on f5. And the next move you can play also c6, so you have plenty of choice. But if you want to be a bit more concrete here, of course, black has to think about this critical line on taking the e5 knight and after this bishop c5. And where does the rook go? I think it's almost 100% sure rook will go to g3. Rook to g3. I really like to play queen h4 here, but this pawn is still hanging. And the bishop is also hanging. If the bishop was not hanging, it's fine, because we would have c6. But then after queen h4 here, queen d5, yeah, we have to somehow reposition the bishop first before we play c6. But in the meantime, white will be able to also reposition the queen so that there is no more fork. Yeah, knight e5 is on the board. And Hammer is still thinking too. Wow, surprising. And now they have like 50 minutes difference. Let's come back to Hammer. Yeah, 50 minutes. It's a huge time difference here between these two players. And yeah, what is he thinking? Okay, apart from all this drawing checks on b1 and back to b6 or something like that, can black do something else? Like not... if black doesn't want to take a draw, let's say, let's put it that way, what will black do? Yeah, the problem is this bishop, because now if you allow bishop goes to d3, let's say, I think it's gonna be a bit dangerous. Yeah, h4, yeah, you can have it for sure. I mean, you can still also do short castle if you want. I think that should be fine. Okay, so okay, check here. I think we saw this, and then queen e4. If bishop e2, this one hangs. So white will lose that one. So I think only move in this position is queen e3. You still cannot take this because the queen is hanging unless you take it with the rook, but then knight will take it, and then white will win an exchange up. Hammer just played something. What was that? Rook d1. Oh, okay. He really doesn't like to make a draw. But rook d1, I mean, it's already something that you wouldn't like to make in your game, right? Because just a while ago, you put your rook to c1, and then after a few moves, and now you put your rook to d1. It's already like a wasting move to play rook c1 before, and we can just see the look of his face. Like he probably he looks unhappy because he has to do, or he has to come to rook d1 like this. But actually, if we are going to be objective here, is rook c4 that bad? Am I missing something in the position? No, rook c4. Yes. Okay, boss. My boss is here, by the way. Yeah. Rook c4 is still the best move, so I call it right then. Yeah, so in the Lichess commentary, we try not to use the engine, but we only used it to validate our analysis. So we don't want to use the eval bar all the time or engine all the time. It's just that after we give our thoughts, and then if we still have some doubts, you know, then we turn the engine on just to also part of learning too. Because just in case such a position occurs in our own games, right, we would like to know what is the best reaction or the best response to that position. So yes, rook c4 is objectively the best move here. Even the computer gives just 0.0, and then it exactly shows that that white has to go for the line that we analyze. Rook c4, queen b1, rook c1, queen b4, actually queen b4, but then rook c4 again, and then you get all this sort of repetition, either to b4 or to b6. So I think, yeah, rook c4 here, queen here, rook c1 again, queen b6 too. Queen b6 is actually fine. Queen e4, yeah, I think it has to go like that, and rook c4 again. In fact, I think the other variation would have been better for black. After rook c4, queen here, 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 and then queen d5. Yeah, and then just play this position. But I have some doubt in this position. Like probably white can pull out a win here. Like bishop c4, queen f5, and yeah, and king f1. That's it. As long as everything is protected, I think white should be doing fine, and then white can focus on attacking. Although of course black is also fine in this position. But yeah, just I'm curious on this decision making processes that Hammer has been doing in this game. It's very unusual of him, you know, to change his mind and not being objective towards the evaluation of the position. Like, I get it. He doesn't want to make a draw. He's playing with white pieces, and he wants to keep continuing the game. But probably he would hope that out of this position that white is still going to be okay. But objectively, black is better. Queen b4, bishop d3. So this is the move that we already have on the board right now, and black is thinking. Okay, let's get back to the second board. I think after knight e5, yes, Gretarsson still hasn't moved yet. And what about the third board? Actually, I'd like to go to fifth board. How is Sheila doing here? Okay, because there are special prizes for women that are equally good as the open prizes too. So all these ladies are in the competition to get who is the best among them all. So we have Pia Cramling, we have also the up and rising Savita Shri from India. We have Sheila. Sheila is currently leading among all the other women. I mean, she's also one of the leaders in the Open too, with 2.5 points without any loss. And we also have Olga, hang on, what's her last name? Prudnikova. She's also on 1.5. So, and we have a Vietnamese player, a lady, Luong Pong Han. She is on also 1.5. So everything is still up for grabs for sure. The special prize for women is 2,500 euros. So it is actually one of the, to me, it is quite big. Like I've played in so many open tournaments all over the world. Many people know that I'm such a chess tourist, chess traveler. And yeah, to compare many other prizes, like special prizes for best women's, I think this is one of the biggest. So well done. So next year, for those who are watching, and if you don't know what to do yet in the summer, please make your itinerary go to Trondheim, Norway. This is such a beautiful city, actually. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't this the 4th biggest city in Norway? Like after Oslo, Bergen, Stavanger, and then Trondheim? I have to double check the fact. But it is nice. I like it here. The summer has been quite mild, except today it was rainy and cold. That's why I'm wearing my sweater. And then since the cathedral and this Archbishop Palace is actually very close to the center. Almost every day I went out to different restaurants for dinner, and they have really good food too. Like I can choose Asian, Western, Asian fusion, and or if I want some fast food, they're also there, or some simple food like some salad or anything. Everything is there, and they close very late too, which is good because here we start at 5 in the afternoon, and sometimes the game goes for like more than 4 hours for sure. Sometimes 5 hours, even 6 hours, and if you finish late, the restaurants are still open. So yeah, next year we're going to have another Louis Chess Legends 2025, exactly on the same date. The dates are already set, and we have a lot of side events too here. It's fun actually. Yeah. So, and tomorrow, the side event for tomorrow is my simul. So I'm going to give a simul against the female players here. I mean, not the players who are participating in the game, but mostly to the girls or other females that who would like to join the simul. So every day there's always something to play alongside the main event itself at 5 p.m. So yeah, I really highly recommend you to play in the next year's edition. Okay, let's go back to Sheila. Yeah, we forgot to talk about this game. So I think we left it after knight bd7 here. Oh, after queen d2, she chose to play the triangle line h5. I'm so happy to see this. And then knight d5, knight takes d5, it takes d5, and bishop f5, yes. And then bishop e2. Okay, so usually in this variation, there are some other lines that white can also try. First of all is to play like c4 here, and then let's say g6, and then you play knight a5 attacking this, and if the pawn pushes to b6, then you can put the knight on c6, and your knight is good there. So that's why usually after here queen c7 is there, but the idea of knight a5 is to play b4. So you are trying to attack the queen side, and then you slowly improve your position on the king side by playing bishop e2, castle, and then put your pieces on c1 or rook c1, rook d1, let's say, and then find the momentum to push c5. It's not going to be easy, but this is a way to go. But it is interesting to see what Amar is doing in this position. He chooses a completely different direction. So after rook c8 here, he just played rook c1. He doesn't push c4, which I thought was going to be quite automatic. Maybe because now it loses its time or momentum actually. Because after bishop e2, rook c8, if white moves to c4, first of all there is b6. So knight will no longer be able to go to a5, but I have to double check if a move like b5 works. Probably not. Probably this is a bit too premature, but it's something to think about. Okay, so Amar played rook c1 here, and then bishop e7, castle, and then knight a5. Okay, actually he's playing according to this plan then. Okay, and then bishop f6. This is actually not the move that usually happens in this position. But I think I can understand why Sheila played this move. Probably she's preparing to play b6, and after knight c6, she doesn't want this knight to get a hold of the bishop on e7. But yeah, well, knight f5 is a good move, of course. I think queen c7 would suffice. Like, this is fine for black as well. And then all you want to do is probably putting your bishop back to g6 and then start pushing this pawn to f5. Something like that. Yeah, but Sheila chose a completely different plan here, and after bishop f6, what could she be choosing here? Or probably f5 will come, but then she might think of playing g6 and bishop g7, something like that, just to reroute the bishop from e7. There's also another way, but here after bishop f6, she gave this pawn. Yeah, I've never seen this position before, to be honest. Like most of the times, of course, black would try to protect. Oh, where's the camera? The camera is still on Pia. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Let's get it to Sheila. If I can get her in the frame. Oh, that's Savita. Okay. Okay, there is. Okay, there you go. There's Sheila and Eric is watching it. Okay. Yeah, to be honest, I've never seen it before. Like, after knight f5, most of the times you always want to protect this pawn. Queen c7 should be automatic. Okay, how long did it take her to play bishop f6? Just wondering. She took 18 minutes actually, so it's not that she missed this move. Yeah. I don't like this position. Yeah, after knight takes b7, queen here. Yeah, knight just got back and it's like a free pawn. Okay, e4. Yeah, usually you get this position without sacrificing a pawn. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, this doesn't look good for Sheila. Like, losing that pawn is going to cost her a lot. And the time situation doesn't help at all too, because she's been using most of her time, and Amar still has like lots of time on the clock. Did it take long for Amar to take b7? No, I think after bishop f6, yeah, he just took 3 minutes to decide on taking b7. Okay, so queen c7, knight f5, e4, knight c6, yes. And this is what we talked about earlier, having the knight on c6. If the knight can go to c6, that is a really strong outpost for the knight. And now white is up a pawn. White already gets what he wants positionally. And now rook e8, f4 should come to mind, like very automatically. And yeah, white has been trying to just play on the center and on the queen side. So anything on the king side, I think white can just try to close it so that all the attention can be focused on the queen side. So I think Amar would just play f4. Yeah, and then after f4, white is free on doing anything else, to be honest. Like probably push all these pawns, because I don't know what's gonna happen after this. Actually I shouldn't underestimate this move, yeah? But okay, rook here, let's say, and then takes here. No, okay. As much as I want to have something for black in this position, but I don't see anything, unfortunately. Yeah, this bishop has to go and then take on a6. This is just one way to continue this position. But of course, after this, if Amar play b4, let's say, because you're still also attacking a6, you're saving this pawn to b2. This is probably also another candidate move, not necessarily is the best. But it's just that I love the knight so much on c6. I don't like to get it exchanged like this. And then pushing this type of pawn is just going to create some weaknesses around the dark squares. So I think I will have to calculate concretely here and then try to make f4 work and then let this happen here, and then let's say bishop goes here because maybe you want to exchange it to c5, and then bishop takes here, and then rook b7, and the queen might be trapped. I think that's quite easy decision to make. Okay, Eric has been popping up to the screen quite a lot there on the Sheila's camera. There you go. He's still popping up again. He might be enjoying his position in the game. Let's see if we can find. Let's see if we can find his game. Where is Eric? Okay, here we go. So after castle, actually not much going on. I think we left it just after castle, right? And here rook c8, trying to get a checkmate in one move, and bishop d3, And bishop c5, yeah. So bishop c5 will always come regardless. So this is the thing. Like, this is the art of what? The art of trading in chess. Like, you have to know which piece that you want to trade and leave you with what piece, because obviously if you really, really desperately want to get this bishop out of the board, you could just take it. But taking this doesn't give you anything, because the knight is actually pretty good there, I would say. But yeah, this idea of bishop c5, I think we mentioned it earlier in the broadcast as well, is going to happen, because you'd like to exchange this bishop with that bishop and leave the position with knight versus this bishop. And not only that, but also if bishop takes c5, queen takes c5, this queen is attacking both of the pawns here because of the knight on g4. So that is actually a very practical decision by Eric here. And let's say f3 moves, knight will hop on to f2, and then there is a fork here. So it's gonna be quite, not f3, let's say f4, because you want to also protect the e5 pawn. But this is going to be the same way, like knight f2 and then GG. There's no easy way on how to deal with this, because if you don't take the bishop, let's say, what do you do here? Oh, actually, I can move my camera again and find where Eric is, because he was on the screen before. Ah, there you go. Relaxing, pondering over the window. Okay, the game is here against Olga Prudnikova. Let's. Okay, I have 3 exciting games in one frame actually. With the hat is Grandmaster Juan Belon Lopez, and then on the middle, the lady in white t-shirt is Olga Prudnikova, and on the far end, on the right one, it's Pia. So we're gonna come back to her game after we finish talking about this one. Bishop c5, yes. And where was I? So you cannot take because of that reason. e5 and f2 would be hanging. You cannot move your bishop as well, because this f2 would still be hanging. Even if you protect it like this, you would end up with double pawn in the center. And in this position, probably white is going to lose this pawn very soon. How? Let me think. First of all, queen c5 comes to mind. This bishop cannot go still. And this knight will forever be a good knight, because this is such a good outpost. It doesn't have to be on the 6th knight to have an outpost, on the, not 6th rank, but in this case it's 3rd rank. On the 4th rank it will do, because there is no other pawn surrounding it that can attack the knight. So this is going to be a good knight till the end. And actually, black is not in a hurry to win any pawns here. In fact, I might actually consider to play castle, like just to get my rook into play. The knight is safe here. The bishop still cannot go, because the only piece that can really attack the knight is the bishop. But thanks to the attack on this pawn, it's a checkmate. The bishop is still paralyzed. So yeah, so things are looking good. And let's check on Pia. How is Pia doing? Pia is over there, and let's zoom it in. There you go. We have Pia on the screen, and Pia is this one. Okay, so Pia is trying to maximize the fact that she has a pass pawn on the b file. Also, c file. I mean, the c5 pawn is technically a pass pawn, but it's to be honest, which one is better, b5 or c5? That's a good question. Because this bishop is pretty strong, actually. But this bishop is also pretty strong for different reasons. So you might actually think twice if you want to exchange this bishop. Okay. Let's see. I think we left it. Oh, actually, after d5 here, Pia chose to play e4. Okay, d takes c4, knight takes c4, and then knight b6. So this is how the game went. And take on c4. And bishop c3. Ah, bishop c3. What is the idea? Bishop c3. Okay. I mean, the position is still pretty nice for white here, but I'm just trying to look for the best continuation to the game. I always like rook a1, but maybe I can change my mind to rook d1 here and then try to pressure the... As I speak, Pia just chose something else. Okay, rook b1. Okay, I think she's been quite straightforward in her plan. Now rook b1 is already telling her opponent that, hey, I'd like to get my pawn moving because this is my advantage in this position. I'd like to move it forward and try my best to promote it. Of course, the pawn is not going to be promoted, but that's the thing in chess, right? The most dangerous thing is the threat, not the execution. So the threat of Pia is promoting the pawn. Most of the times, the threat is not going to happen, but during its execution, it's usually when your opponent falls. So this is what Pia is doing. Okay, now we know what she's planning. So if we were black here, what should we do? Obviously, you cannot put the knight on b6 because bishop a5 is always standby to pin the knight. Is there any way to stop the b pawn? This bishop is not moving anywhere. This rook is a bit... yeah. Alright, this position is better for white, yeah, for sure. Yeah, Pia can play rook b1 and then she might actually try to play... Oh, wait, what? Whoa, tricky. I just realized I missed this tactic. Bishop a5, there is queen d5. Uh-huh. But that's fine, isn't it? I don't understand. Hang on. Bishop a5, queen d5. What if I play knight e3? I'm attacking the queen, so the only move for the queen is here. To b7. And okay, can I attack? Because next move, I think black would play knight d5 and try to exchange that knight. Or after knight b6, bishop a5, queen d5. What can I play? The thing is, after f3, yeah, this will happen. Takes, and check. And black gets some activity. Knight b6. Okay. Okay, this is tricky. I don't know. If Pia wins this, I might be able to have her on the show and ask her myself whether she missed this knight b6 or not. Because it looks like, in a quick glance, it looks like knight b6 is just a mistake. But yeah, we just have to further our calculation, right? Because after queen d5, there might be just some idea here. Okay, knight here, queen b7. Okay, like we can start thinking from this position. Yeah, knight d5 is coming. Knight d5 is coming. Let's say I play f3, then knight d5 and bishop here. And queen here maybe. Okay, yeah. I like I like knight b6 now. Yeah, I think this is what black should have done anyway. Yeah, because you'd like to improve your pieces little by little. So probably in this position rook d1. This is my initial thought. Should have been played to prevent knight b6. Yeah. What does the computer say on this position? Rook a1, bishop a5, rook d1. Yeah, rook a1 as well. But what is the difference between rook a1? Because if rook a1, can I play... Oh, if rook a1, if knight b6, then I think... What's gonna happen? If bishop here, probably just here, yeah? And if this happens, yeah, not sure. Okay, what does the computer say? Rook a1 if knight b6? Knight takes b6. Oh, just like that. Okay. Ah, of course. Wow, what a... Yeah, this is it. Yeah. So we just have to anticipate knight b6, and I think this is the best reaction to it. Yeah, rook takes a8, of course. Rook takes a8 and then queen e4. Look at this subtle move. It's attacking both the rook and the h7 square, and if you allow queen takes h7, it's gonna be checkmate on h8. So it means white is just going to win this position, but that didn't happen. Yeah, I forgot that a1 is covered by the bishop, so the rook cannot give a check. Yeah, just like that. I think it's best for white to stop knight b6 at all costs. I mean, technically you cannot stop it, but if your opponent still played knight b6, he's gonna get punished. But here, after rook b1, knight b6, bishop a5, it's already happened on the board. And queen d5, yeah, we saw this as much, and knight e3. So the only move after knight e3 is queen b7. Black is still thinking. He's still thinking on this position, but I think eventually he will play queen b7. I don't think it's gonna go back to d8. There are some moves just played. Yes, queen b7 now is already on the board. Okay, and yeah, I think this position is already an improvement for black compared to b4. What is the evaluation now? Yeah, white is still better, but now not as much. Now Pia has to brave herself and letting her pair of bishops go by taking this knight like this and knight c4. But this is a hard decision to make. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not, because now probably the idea is to get this bishop exchange, and so after queen b7, then you can prepare with f3, something like that. Okay. Let's get back to the top boards, because I'd like to see what Hammer is doing. The queens have been exchanged. We saw the position after... Okay, rook d1, yeah. And here queen b4, bishop d3 takes, and king takes. Amazing. Wow. Okay, b6 was played. But it's just that after knight takes, I think the idea is to take this, takes this, and king e3. So you're giving up a pawn, but you have such a superior position as a compensation. For example, if you go to any of the light square, this bishop will try to help. So for example, if you go here, bishop will go to e4. You're forced to take this, by the way, and this, because the back rank is there. But then, thanks to the activity of the pieces here, even though white is down a pawn, white is winning. Because nothing is going to stop this idea, rook d8. Although it's not going to be mated, but after rook here, white can just enjoy this position for sure. Probably playing a4, because this bishop and this rook, they are going to be paralyzed. They cannot do anything. So that is the idea of this sacrifice on d4. So black cannot take it, and instead black just played b6. And Korpa didn't take long to play b6 anyway. He understood that he shouldn't take the sacrifice, and instead he's just trying to solve the problems that he still has on this position. That's the back rank, that's the development of the pieces, and by playing b6, I think I totally agree with this move. Yeah, so having the king on d2, you might want to push it to e3, but again, d5 is going to be the square that black is using to attack, probably. Because now this h4 pawn, without the queens, you cannot really continue the attack anymore. And to be honest, when we're reaching to this position, it feels like white is already wasting a few tempi by playing rook c1 to d1, by playing h4, because now the attack is no longer, it's almost doesn't exist anymore. Okay, bishop e4, automatic move bishop b7, you just have to defend the knight, and next move could be rook c8, or next move could be knight f5, depending what white will be doing. Actually, black is attacking right now because next move is going to be knight d4 if white doesn't do anything. But I believe in this position Hammer will play king e3, and he's down to 20 minutes, and he still has to make another 23 moves to make it to the time control. Yeah, he's been burning lots of time in the opening, trying to not make a draw early. Okay, bishop b7 is still on the board. Yeah, Hammer is still thinking again. Yep. Hopefully he's not gonna be in time trouble anytime soon. Let's see the board next to him. Orkadal versus Gertarsen. And after knight e5, oh, he took, yes, this is exactly what we saw before. Takes, and oh, instead of bishop c5 here, I like bishop c5 better actually. He played bishop e7 and then bishop d3, g6. Yeah, this is a more passive approach, but probably more solid than what I did. Because what I did was bishop c5, and I think both are acceptable. Rook e1. Ah, okay. I think that's the idea, so that the rook is no longer be useful around this rank. Even if you put it on g3, so what? The pawn is already moved to g6, so that's no longer feasible. Rook e1, bishop e6, bishop h6, rook e8, okay, queen d2, and a6. Ooh, this little move. I didn't expect it. What is the idea? The idea here is black wants to push c5, but black doesn't want to leave this diagonal hanging because there might be bishop b5, and you cannot really play bishop d7 because this pawn is hanging. So a6 has that little purpose, that you want to stop bishop b5, because now your next move, if white doesn't do anything dangerous, black wants to play c5 and try to get a better center. Okay, I think this game is still pretty much alive for both sides. And let's come back to Eric's game. I just want to see how he is doing before we take our break. So I might get him on the screen. Okay, there you go. Last move was bishop c5. This is the last move that we saw, and she took. And f4. Wow, what a brave idea. Okay, I think it's because also g7 is hanging, so she's going for it. Whoa, okay, let me think. So if I play knight f2 here, queen takes g7. I think it's gonna be mate, yeah? Knight takes here. This is mate. And if king goes here, just takes here, and then mate on b2. So, okay, knight f2 is still okay to play. But after... No, knight f2 is totally fine. I thought there's some idea with queen g7, but white doesn't have enough time to do it because of this idea on c2. What happens then? Like, let's say king b1. Just try to get the king out of the way, because you don't want to get queen c2 with the checkmate. Maybe at some point we can give c2 up, but without a checkmate. So here we can take which rook? Actually, we don't need to take any rook. I mean, we can play king f8. Do I want to play that? I don't know. Because if g6, maybe this one. But then there is rook g8. It's going to be very tricky after bishop takes g6 to take, because after this, this is scary. This is scary. Yeah, if you play this, I don't know. Do I have time to do anything? It's all full calculation here. Queen check here, let's say. King here. Probably white doesn't have enough time, but okay. Eric has to calculate everything, yeah? But nf2 is definitely playable here. You cannot take this because you take the bishop, not the rook. Take the bishop and then you are better. But if king b1 or maybe rook f1, let's say, then now you could take this one. And if queen takes g7, I think going to the endgame should be fine. Like here, takes, king takes, and then you can take this and then play f5. Yeah, you are going to the endgame with exchange up. If you don't want to take any risk. But if you want to take any risk, can I just play rook f8 here? I think it would be better to play this position without queens on the board. Because after this, obviously this is still playable, it's just that it's easier to play without queens. And then you just can focus on your endgame. But if we don't do knight f2, because this is quite the momentum, right? Because if we do something else, let's say castle here, rook d2, and then stopping everything, stopping knight f2, and also maybe you're still having pretty good position anyway, but that's pretty much it. You're no longer winning any material in this position. So I would try my best to play knight f2 if I were black in this one. Yeah, what could she be thinking actually? Because f4, how long did it take for her to play f4? Quite a long time, about 12 minutes. Yeah, she might be thinking that it's hard. This is a hard position. Either you want to die slowly, positionally, or you want to just take a risk open up the position, and you might actually lose quicker, but at least you take a chance. So there's always these options coming into your way. Okay. Okay, let's go back to Hammer. Yeah, while Eric is thinking, because it's gonna be quite a long time for him to think this one, because it is now, it's either you play knight f2 or not. That's it. It's very, very important, I guess, to play knight f2, and we can come back to this one after we circle back to Hammer's game, because there's been some moves there. Yep. So after b6, bishop a4, bishop b7 here. Oh, he played rook c1 first. Why? Wow. Amazing. He's setting up another trap again. So if after knight d4, you can actually take this. After this, you go king e3. And then you're attacking both this and this. And then you're just going to be up in exchange in the end. So that's why after rook c1, Korpa just kept continuing on his development by playing rook c8. And now king e3. Yep, knight f5. Okay. Looks pretty equal now. But Hammer is down to 18 minutes. So he has to be quick. What is the idea now, yeah? Let's say I take this bishop, takes this bishop, and the knight is no longer useful. So let's move it to d2. With the idea to e4 and then to d6, maybe, if black allows it to happen. So can black do the same thing with the knight? Probably just put the knight back to a5, because after knight here there is this check, and one of the pawns will fall, because if you go here, knight takes e5. If you don't go there, the rook will take the pawn on d4. So you cannot do that still. Okay, knight a5. Knight a5, and this should be equal, right? But how to continue? It's not that easy, actually. Did Hammer just play something? Oh, not yet. Okay, but the position is still in this one, knight f5. And he took on b7, it looks like, from the camera. Yep, and I think that takes b7 would be automatic. And now, you know what? I think what's going to happen is like this: takes, and then king d2, so that you're offering this exchange on c1 again. Should the knight go to a5, and then you can go rook c1. Okay, knight b7 is still on the board. Hammer is now down to 16 minutes. I think he's gonna play his move soon, hopefully. While on the game next to him, it's Urkudal versus Gretarsson. And yes, after a6, here a5 and c5. c3 and now, ooh, b5. Okay. The question now is whether to do the en passant or not. Because if not, then these three pawns, ooh, they look really scary. But if you do en passant, takes here, this pawn on b2 will be the target of attack. So, not easy decision there for white after b5. let's go to the fourth board. It's been a while since we last saw them. And what was happening? Oh, they were playing Reti, right? Yeah. Okay, let's see. A3, knight h5, bishop d2, e5. Okay, e4. Now it's becoming like a bit unorthodox of Reti. Now it's something that it could be from e4, e5, but with g3 variation. It could be many things. So both players are being creative here. They're already out of the books since a while ago. So queen check, knight c5, interesting. Queen a2, keeping the control over this diagonal. Okay, that's interesting. Rook e8. Probably want to switch this bishop to f8 like that, or probably to takes and then bishop e6 coming. Yeah, there are a few ideas in this position. Okay. I think it's time for me to take my next break, so don't go anywhere. I'll be back after a few minutes. Hello, welcome back to the official broadcast of Lichess Legends. I'm Irene Sukandar, I'm your host of this commentary, and I'd like to just quickly check on Eric's game because when we left, it was quite the critical position of the game actually. When his opponent Olga Prudnikova, she played f4, and this is it. I think I was talking about it earlier that knight f2 I think has to be played no matter what, and Eric did it. So knight f2 was played, and here rook h f1, knight takes d1, rook takes d1. So white is pretty much down an exchange right now. So I think Eric is in a good place. He's totally in the driver's seat. This pawn is not really hanging because c2 pawn is a checkmate there. So probably what black has to think about is about this pawn, because g7, it is quite an important pawn, so you don't want to lose it. The thing is, if you play g6 here, this might be playable, but there is bishop takes g6 that you have to think about, because after bishop takes g6, if you take this, queen takes, or probably it's fine actually. After this, queen check, then there is nothing else after this, yeah? Let's say we take another pawn and then see if there is any. No, there's nothing. I mean, the king escapes, and there are too many pieces. Okay, So that's one way to go. I think g6 is playable, but Eric has to be careful not to lose any of these tactics because that might come on the board. Okay, so this is still the current position. Things are looking good. Let's see how is Pia doing. And Pia, as we know, she's trying to get her B pawn to do something on this position. And we saw knight e3. The last move was knight e3, queen b7, and here she took. Okay, this is the best move actually. Queen takes b6. Okay, knight c4. That's a very good follow-up moves. Queen b8 and b6. Now Pia is thinking, okay, it's time for me to bring my pawn forward. And after bishop d5, she played queen b2, and this is now the current position. So I was just trying to think what probably she has in mind. Well, I think I like this queen b2 because now the queen is protecting both pawns like this, and now maybe it's time to bring the rook to the other file, and then somehow bring it to the 7th rank. I think it's gonna be the dream. So I think she is also having a good position now. I'm really hoping to have her in my stream after she finishes her game, but we'll see if that's possible. And let's go to the top board again. So after knight takes b7 here, Hammer played h5, h6 was played, and after knight d2, knight f5, and g4. Okay, so he's still very keen on continuing the attack on the king side. Of course, do not take anything on the c file, yeah, because whoever takes, I think he or she, sorry, he's going to be better. So g4, maybe I like it, yeah, g4, and then you're trying to play f4 and g5. Yeah, they're trying to gain something on the king side, because on the queen side, black has more pawns, especially on this area of the board. So yeah, and g4, rook c6 was already played, and now this is Hammer's turn to move. What could be the move here? Because rook c6 is threatening rook dc8, double up the rook and forcing the trade on the c file. So probably before it happens, maybe it's best to take it first, like this, and then, okay, now this one is hanging, so probably the knight has to go here to also stop knight f5, and then the rook can also come to c1 followed by f4. I think this is quite a good position, although of course after knight b3 this knight can come to e7 and then have a very good outpost on d5. But yeah, let's see what Hammer is going to decide. He has 10 minutes left on the clock and he still has to make another 17 moves. So this is endgame. Doesn't look like it's so complicated, but he has to keep up his pace, because if he keeps thinking this long for every move, then he might be in time trouble soon. Okay, let's see the second board, because there are also a huge time difference there, not only on the first board. Here, black has only 13 minutes and white still has 40 minutes. I think they are playing on a similar pace here, both these two boards, because they also are on 23rd moves right now. So 17 more moves to go. Okay, rook a b8 was the last position, but I think we saw it until b5 here, where white decided to do the en passant. Queen takes b6 and rook a b1, rook d8, b3. Okay, queen c7, queen f4, and rook a b8. And this is the last position. Wait, what is going on? Okay, we can hop on to Hammer's game after this. Just want to see how this one is playing out. So, although the bishop looks nice, also the pawn looks nice, but I think the king is pretty safe here. So yeah, so probably black is fine, and yeah, black should be fine in this position. I don't see any weaknesses. I mean, this a6 could be a weakness, but you can just push it forward. And this b3 pawn is actually something that worries me. This might be something that white is also a bit scared about. So what could be the idea of the last move? Queen f4. And rook b8. Is it queen a4? But is it really? Or probably bishop here. Trying to exchange this bishop and then put the queen on h4. Maybe that was the idea. Okay, let's also update ourselves on the third board here. Oh, looks like everything is pretty much equalized. Where was the last time we left it? I think it was sometime, okay, long ago actually, long ago. Castle, knight f3, d5, yeah, so it's like the normal, looks like now the normal queen's gambit accepted. And here takes, and c5 is coming soon, which is now another trade, and now another trade of the knights and of the rook, another rook. Yeah, it should be, they should finish sometime soon. I don't know who is going to offer the draw. Yeah, so rook d1, yeah, my prediction is, also they have similar time situation too. After rook d1, but maybe not that soon. Okay, actually, you can take this, and after taking this, since this is the idea, who is better actually in this position? If I just play this, for example, now knight is under attack. I mean, black should be fine, white should be fine. It's just maybe they would like to continue a little bit longer and see who is better. But yeah, I think it should be just drawn. And on the fourth board, we have Sebastian Bogner versus Stormy Isaac. We saw the position of the rook e8 here, and bishop e3 was played. He took the knight, pawn took the bishop, and bishop e6, queen b2, and white accepted the sacrifice on b7. Is this a sacrifice or a blunder? There is always like one fine line between those two, yeah? The difference between a blunder or a sacrifice. Or maybe it's just a delayed gambit in the middle game. Okay, yeah, queen b2 and takes this. Yeah, probably the queen. Okay, this is some compensation. There's some compensation. You can play queen d7, and we just saw that happen. Yeah, because you want to trap the queen like that. So queen retreated back to b2. Yeah, so white accepted the sacrifice, but now it looks like everything's still up for grabs now, because white has a pawn up. But objectively, the position looks better for black for now. Whether it is enough as a compensation, we'll find out. Because also, the knight can take this bishop and leave this pawn hanging later. So there's something that black can hope for the pawn, or on how to get the pawn back. But probably not that soon. So queen b2, if I were white, what would I do here? Probably rook a b8. The queen has to go. The queen probably go to c1. Okay, this is going to be sharp actually. Because maybe with this queen d7 idea, you want to trade your bishop like this. Yeah, this is possible too. Oh, Hammer has already played some moves there. Okay, let's take a look. What did he do? After g4, rook c6. Oh, he took, yeah, he took. Knight takes and rook c1, attacking the knight, and knight b4, a3, and whoa, this is, hang on. You are gambiting the pawn again like this. Oh. That's so tricky. Hammer is so tricky. The knight might be left hanging in the center by playing a4 here, because the idea is rook c4, and the knight doesn't have a square to go. Oh, okay, b5. There's still some hope. b5. Probably after b5 you just play rook c7, yeah. Or actually, can you take? No, if you take, then yeah, I think rook c7 is better. Because if you take this, you take the a7 pawn, and then you're going to win back this pawn. But who is better in this position? I think black is doing fine. Like knight here, let's say, takes, and then knight here, knight here. Yeah, it should be fine. But okay, Korpa chose different approach. After here, I mean after rook c1, he didn't take, but I think take. Oh, my mistake. My mistake. After knight takes here, rook c4 immediately. And after knight here, a4, that's it. That's it. And after knight goes here, because there is no other square for the knight, and you trap the knight like this. Wow. Yeah, this is a trick. Yeah, that's why Hammer just gambit that pawn again for how many times already. But it was never really hanging. So black couldn't take it, because otherwise the knight would get hunted by the rook and the pawn. So that's why after rook c1, knight b4 was played, a3, knight d5, king e4. And this is the current position. Okay, so the king is already in the center, because one idea in the endgame is of course to centralize your king, which has been achieved by Hammer already. It's good there to have the king in the center, because you don't need any other piece to protect the pawn on d4. You can have your rook and your knight free to do whatever they want and to go wherever they want. And now a5 was played. Okay, so the idea after a5 is you want to play b5 and b4, and somehow you find yourself having a passer. The thing is, in this position, if you try to stop b5 by playing a4, you will have to forever guide this square, because otherwise it's gonna be a check, and the pawn on a4 would fall. But if you move your rook to stop it, also this knight c3 is always the idea. So I think there's no good way on stopping it. So probably white has to allow it to happen anyway, and then play rook c6, and then after b5, no, white doesn't, I mean black doesn't need to go b5, because the knight is protecting everything anyway. So what will do? Okay, what will black do? Oh, I see, this one. You're preparing for this trust. b5, b4, and so on. Yeah, the knight on d5 is perfectly placed. But in this position, after knight c4, okay, you don't have to do anything. That's why I think this position is probably still equal. Although maybe white still has more ideas, because if you push this pawn, then this hangs. But also if black doesn't do anything, then white might able to push all the pawns to f4 and f5. So yeah, I think every single player in this position, they have their own ideas. Okay, so Hammer chose to play f4 immediately. I think this is something that White could hope for, because I don't think White is trying to gain something on the queen side. The only thing is on the king side, White might be able to try to weaken the pawn structure, especially the one on e6, because this pawn is very strong guarding the outpost for the knight on d5. So it's very important to play f4 followed by f5. And Hammer chose the time now. Let's go to the second board just to see what's happening there. After queen f4 here, rook a b8 and h4. Okay, so Frode here decides to start the attack on the king side. c4, another good idea. You are doing some counter attack on the other side. And after bc, dc, and this is the current position. Where does the bishop go? c2, e4. What are the difference between those two? Probably c2. Yeah, to be honest, this type of pawn moves to h5, I don't think it's gonna succeed. Because black is pretty solid, and pushing that pawn too far away like that might pose some problem in the future for white later. Okay, what just happened? Bishop c2 was the move. Okay, bishop c2, and if black manages to use this pawn, oh, it's gonna be very dangerous. It's the outside pass pawn. Like imagine if this position, if in this position every single piece has been traded, and only leaving the kings and the pawns. Only black is going to win that one, because it's going to be quite a journey for this king to get after this pawn on a file. And while the king is so distracted in chasing that pawn, this king will be already in the center and then capturing every single pawn along the way. So that is a long-term plan. But of course, it's still far from being there, because we still have so many pieces on the board now. So let's go to Pia. I still have the camera on her. So where's Pia? Pia. Okay, there you go. Ooh, okay. I think the position has evolved quite nicely for Pia. So queen b6, and now this is hanging. Yeah, this position is so scrambled, like eggs for black, unfortunately. The queen can take, bishop will be on d5, and probably repositioning the rook to a8. But do not forget to open something for the king, probably g3, so that the king can have, some place to breathe to g2. Yeah, so Pia is doing well. I think this position is nice for her. Not only that, yeah, this is another thing again. The opposite colored bishop keeps happening, but this time again there are queens on the board, and there is already a passpawn on b7, so it's hardly can be called as an equal position. In fact, this is going to be very dangerous position, especially white here. The bishop is just way better than the black's bishop on e7. So, wait, queen. Okay, bishop d6. Okay, that's nice. We can take this first, right? Okay, bishop d6 just happened. I think Pia could take this one time, and after this, possibly bishop c8 is okay. But if you want to be a bit fancy, what do we do here? Probably rook d8, sorry, rook d1, and after bishop c7. Nah, I'd like to take this pawn when bishop c7 happens. Okay, Pia is not taking that, or probably, oh, maybe she's thinking to do this, rook d1 now, because after bishop c7 you take this with the queen. Maybe this is what she's thinking, and after this, well, you can play bishop d5, and I think the position is pretty nice now. Yeah, okay, but either way, she has pretty good options. Taking the pawn with the queen or taking the pawn with the bishop. I think both are pretty good options for her. So she's having a nice position now. Okay. Let's go to... Who do you want to see? Update ourselves on Eric again. Let's see if we can find Eric. Oh, there you go. Where was I? G6, yeah? Oh, no, actually rook takes d1. Here, yeah, I think G6 was playable, but yeah, Eric has to calculate all these tactics, but he finally did it. G6 and queen f3, a5, queen e2, rook c7, just put everything on the dark squares, and soon this rook is going to go to c8 and attacking this, yeah. So, well, Eric is probably onto winning his game against back-to-back, because yesterday he finally won. It was his victory of the tournament, and now today looks like he's having pretty good position and close to winning the game. So let's go to Sheila. Okay, let's reroute the camera and find where is Sheila. Okay, let me zoom out because I found the board. Let's zoom out, and there you go. We have a clear view of board 5 and 6. So we left it some time ago. I think somewhere here, yeah? Yeah, where she sacrificed this pawn, but I couldn't find the compensation for that. Oh, here, Amar took the pawn. Okay, that's interesting. C4, B4, yeah, that's how you play this position. And then, okay, exchanging this bishop, takes, and then here, bishop F2, queen G5, and A3. Okay, that's a bit too slow, but probably it's still fine. D8, rook D1, takes, rook here again, and now this is the current position. Yeah, why is she like keeping sacrificing the pawns like that? So bishop f4, where does the rook go? Naturally I would play rook e2, but is there something that I missed in this position? what about bishop here? Just take, right? If rook takes, and then you have this. I don't wait. Do I want to go to the rook endgame? Probably not. But where else does the rook go? Oh, probably Ammar is thinking to exchange the rook like this. Yeah, so that he has control over the e-file. And yeah, he just did it. Rook c1 is on the board right now. Okay. Yeah, looks like black is much better. And also time situation, he still has more time on the clock. And what about the next board? Myanmar Suren versus Shuttlebashev. Whoa, the rook is already on e3. Okay. Yeah, this was the one that I said both players have to play creatively, I guess. Here. Oh, look at this. Look at this. e5, bishop e7. Bishop e2, takes d4, takes d6, queen b6. Takes e7, takes... Okay. And the king is bone clouding right now. Castle, rook e8, and okay, now it's like an artificial castle. Bishop here and then a5. And after this rook here, very nice. h3, yeah. Now white's pieces are cramped. Like they don't really have good squares to go to. So h3, all this little move has to be made. Queen f2, king g8, and now knight h2. Okay, at least white is playing with a plan. I like this idea actually. h3, knight h2 with the idea of knight g4. So trying to improve the position of the knight. And also, now knight f6 is already played, so probably preventing knight going to g4. Probably if it happens, then knight can just capture it. But also, maybe now white is trying to empty the square for the bishop. So after bishop f3, because this bishop looks like it's really good bishop, you know, it's eyeing to the g2 square, so probably it's a good thing if we exchange it. But there's some calculation needed. So if you take this, takes this, knight can hop onto e4. The queen doesn't have any other square but h4, and probably in this square, what do I do? Bishop f6 maybe. I don't know. The queen is going to be hunted here. If queen goes to g4, probably h5, and only move is here. Man, can we somehow trap the queen? Yeah, possible. But anyway, knight f6, knight goes to g4. Okay, so white decided that this knight is actually very important to trade. So knight here. Now black might be thinking to put the knight to e4. Oh, but the thing is, if knight goes to e4, I was thinking maybe rook can take, because after this takes here and then you take this. But black has a better option to take it back with the pawn. And now the queen is hanging. If you take this and then bishop comes here, and black is winning on the spot. So you cannot take that, but if you don't take it, what do you do? Queen here maybe? No, queen here, there's a check here. So you have to stop the check by playing queen e2, but there's knight g3 coming. Okay. So white is cramped. That's for sure. It's very hard to get around. Alright, let's see it again. If knight e4, so it means you cannot take this. What else can you do? Queen h4. If queen h4... Okay, so this rook is under attack. Can you do something about it? Do we have to take e1? There is a move. I think it's knight e4. Yeah, knight e4 was already played, and queen h4 immediately played. Okay, so we're looking at the right position already. Yeah, do we have to take it? I don't feel like taking it. But also there is this move, yeah, knight d2, allowing this to happen. But that's fine, you take it with the pawn, and you have this idea with the check. Because this is now hanging, and actually the rook cannot go anywhere because you can just take it on the next move. Yeah, probably this is it. I like that. I like this knight d2 idea. So for those who just joined on Twitch or YouTube, welcome, welcome. Today is fourth round of the Lichess Legends, and yeah, we have a few stars in the event. We have Jan Ludwig Hammer, we have Pia Cramling, we have Eric Rosen, and yeah, so it is the first edition of the tournament, and next year is going to be the second edition. So hopefully, for those who don't know about this tournament yet, make your plans to go to Trondheim, Norway next year. We are going to have the same event on the same date, early August. So, and I've been enjoying my stay here as a commentator because the city is nice, the weather is also nice, the food is also delicious. So everything is just nice. So, let's come back to Pia's game. Yeah, Pia has finished. So let's go to where is Pia? Let's get to her. Actually, I have to tell anyone to get Pia over here. Hopefully, she's willing to come to the stream with us. It's because she's my favorite player of the tournament. So, yeah, the game has finished, but this is her last position. I think we saw the position after bishop d6, if I'm not mistaken. Where is bishop d6? Here. Yeah, she played rook d1. And oh, rook d8. I don't like this move. Yeah, because I thought you have to play bishop c7 anyway. Because this is just going, you're walking into the pin voluntarily. Not a good idea. Of course, takes and bishop c8, and this is where the opponent resigned, because it's now like a double attack to the rook and to the bishop. And also the back rank is kind of weak as well. So, okay. So she's on to 2 victories back to back, because yesterday she also won. Today she won again. So she is now on 2.5 out of 4. Yeah, I mean, there are still 5 more games to go. So it's, we'll see how she's going to fare in this tournament. I always wish her all the best. I mean, I always wish when I'm at her age, I would be playing as strong as her because it's impressive, really impressive. The way that she still understands chess in this modern age where there are many young players, of course, playing with their abstract calculations. I mean, she still can compete among those players, and yeah, it's amazing. Okay, let's go back to the... Okay, which one do I want to see? Maybe the first board, just to update ourselves on the Hammer game. We see the position after knight d5, I guess. And okay, this position we saw, and he pushed f4, b5, and f5 here. b4 and takes, rook here, rook a4, stopping the pawn, and now rook a3, and this is the position. Why is rook a3? Oh, okay, because knight c3 was this threat. And probably now you are planning to play knight c4 anyway. And hoping... actually, can you play a4 and then knight b2, or maybe not? maybe it is possible, but black is always has something. I think black is fine losing that pawn, but black will not do that easily. Black will try to find something in return. What about the board next to the... Oh, okay. Okay, now it's getting sharp. It's getting sharp after bishop c2. This is the last position that we saw. And rook takes b1, rook takes b1, and rook b8, takes, and h5. Okay, very sharp now. Okay, and bishop f5, bishop f5. Oh my gosh, bishop f5. It's amazing. I think it's a good chance that black player might have missed it. What do we do? Because after bishop takes f5, queen takes c4 probably. I don't see any follow-up apart from that. King has to go to h8, and here we go. We have queen f7. And you almost cannot stop mating here, I guess. But there is bishop here. Oh, no, of course not. Bishop here, you can just simply take it. Yeah, you cannot stop the mate on g7. Okay, you have queen g8, but this bishop is lost. And then you have this passed pawn, which is very important on the center. Wow, bishop f5. This position, bishop f5. And if you take it with the pawn, then it's just gonna be mate here somehow. Queen here. Or the queen, sorry, the other queen is lost. And then queen check here, and then check on h8. You can stop it, but it doesn't mean anything. King d7, and this queen is lost. Wow, what a move. Okay, it's simply a blind spot then, I guess. Black totally didn't expect that there is bishop takes f5. And there you go, guys. Tactics are important, and especially when you're down on time like this, it's important to double check. Actually, you don't have time to double check, but yeah, if you feel there might be something that is happening, yeah, I'm sure there are other moves apart from f5, because black is not forced to do something like that. Black can just do something else too. Like for example, what would black do? Queen b2 maybe? What does the computer say about this? Yeah, it's 0-0 position. It's a totally 0-0 position. You can play a5, you can play queen e8. I like queen d8 as well. You just want to, you don't have to do anything. Your position is fine. Even after this, you have this. There's no mate whatsoever. Your pair of bishops are gorgeous, defending everything. But instead, after f5, take a look at the eval bar. There you go. And white called it correctly. Bishop takes f5, and now white is winning. So, see, blunders like this can happen to anyone, even to a strong grandmaster like Gretarsson, because I'm sure he understands that this position is okay for him. But just one simple move like this, of course, you don't expect for en passant. And then, yeah, then now it's kind of like losing. This, and now it's just a technicality, and Urkunal has more time on the clock. He should have won this pretty easily. And I will put us on the break. Meanwhile, I have a special guest in the studio. So I'll be back within like literally a minute just to set everything up. So see you guys very soon. Okay, hello everyone. Sorry, I think apparently our guest has been a bit delayed. So, yeah, so while waiting for the guest, let's continue looking at this position for a bit. Okay, so the last time we saw you was here. Oh, there you go. We have our guest now. Okay, let me put it on the break for a bit, yeah? Hello, everyone. Welcome back. And I finally have my special guest. Pia is here in the studio with me. Welcome, Pia.
Thank
okay,
you.
this is not your game.
No, it's not my game.
Yeah,
now.
I will change it to your game, and then we can just talk briefly about it from the start because we've been actually looking at your game a lot, and yeah, we will see it soon. But well, thank you for your time. With me here. I'm so happy that I can finally have you in the studio. We've been also looking at Juan's game too from yesterday. It was quite messy at first, and then from Trompowski, but then he got the better of his opponent. And then your game yesterday was also interesting.
Yeah. This game, I was a little bit like, in the end, but okay, in the end, it was good for me. But I think he could just have played a better move. So I don't think I played the correct way when I got my pawn to d2. I should have played a little bit more exact. So I think he had a chance there, yes, to keep the game going.
Yeah, because from that Alapin, right? I thought, it's gonna be just really, equalized.
It was very equal.
It was very equal. Okay, but today, I think from start to finish, you've been under control. Like you've been controlling the game, and let's take a look how the game went. So, okay, d4 knight f6. I know you've been very consistent with your d4 repertoire, and here he started to play Bogo and knight d2. I think out of the opening, I think everything is pretty normal, yeah?
Yeah, but here it's most normal to go e4. E4 is the
E4,
main,
yes.
is the main line. But I just decided I wanted to play something differently, so I played b4. But e4 is absolutely the way to, if you want to go for advantage, you go e4 and you play this. And then black can go d5, the old move, but now d6 has become very popular.
D6,
d6, e5 has become very popular.
D6, e5.
No. D6, black is planning e5.
Oh, planning
so,
e5, sorry, yeah. yeah.
So it's a little bit like an old Indian setup. You're planning e5. Sometimes you go, it depends a little bit what white is doing. Sometimes you go e5 directly, or sometimes you can go knight to d7 also, and then
Right.
e5. So this is just what has become very, very popular to play now with black. And I actually have played it myself also. Maybe not many games. And I played against it. Humpy played against me for maybe 5. Oh, no, it's maybe longer. She played it for some years ago, Humpy Connery, this against me. So e4 is the main line.
The main
And,
line, yeah.
yeah. And I have played that before. So then you can go d5 or e5 or the normal moves.
And probably this is also one of your strategies. Maybe your opponent has prepared you against this line, so that's why you decided to play b4 here, just to confuse him too.
Yeah. No, he has decided. He has to have a position, but it's not. It's not the most. It's not the best move, but it's a move.
Playable. It's
Yeah,
playable.
it's
yeah.
playable. So we have
And
this.
b6 here. So maybe he's not playing the most challenging move in this position. Because
Yeah, he could go maybe. I don't know if he could go even maybe a5, b5,
Yeah,
something like that.
that's what I
Yeah,
thought,
a little bit go for a5. Yes.
Yeah.
So b6 a little bit like a little bit slow.
Too slow, yeah.
Yeah, and maybe so maybe I should go e3. I wasn't sure. I can go
E4.
e4. I have forgot about e4. Yeah, of course. Now e4 I should play e4. Okay, this is logical because b6 is not such a good move.
Because now after here, then I mean to create e5 is so hard because you have these two pieces.
No, of course I should go e4. You know, I don't know why didn't I go e4. E4 is very logical because c5 can always go, and I can go d5 after take and d5 if I want, or I have e5. No, c5 I also have e5 probably, but maybe take and d5 could maybe be possible. Okay, c5, yeah. But he will be pushed back. Yeah, of course, e4 is the normal move.
E4,
Of course, e4 is normal move. I just forgot about it actually.
I will take note about this position. You know.
Yeah, e4 is quite, it's quite logical when you're allowed to put a pawn on e4, and then my b4 is more useful than his b6.
I agree,
so we have the same before, but b4, because also when they go d6, you can play this b4, and they normally don't go. If I would have played e4, d6, I could go b4 here, and then they don't go b6.
Exactly.
So
b6 is a wasting move anyway, yeah?
Yeah,
But
so e4 is absolutely the normal move.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Here you play bishop b2.
Bishop b2, bishop b7, and now
e3,
d6,
d6, and bishop d3.
Yeah.
So I think everything is still pretty normal for both sides.
No, he played this, didn't he go knight b7 first? I think he went knight b7 first.
After castle knight b7.
Was it like this? Yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah, it could be. I'm not. Yeah, you're right. And now play queen e2. I'm not sure if the queen is on the right square here actually, because sometimes I want to go maybe 95, 94. So I'm not sure the queen should be on e4, on e2 here now. So what he play now? A5 is.
A5. I don't like it for black because when I saw this position, my first reaction would be to play d5.
Yeah, but then we could have this position with the tempo more for him.
Exactly.
He could have played c5 and d5. So
probably he doesn't want to do it because he feels like he's already wasting a tempo.
Yeah, but I will play the same plan. I will take d takes c5, b take, and b5. So this is d takes. So I will play for this kind of end game, and then I will put the rook on d1. Knight b6, I will go a4. Knight b6, I will go a4, and I will play this end game where I have a pawn more far away.
Yeah.
Because I have played sometimes. I played against this with black, and it's a little bit unpleasant to play because I have this pawn majority b5 and a4, and so all the end games are a little more pleasant for me. And I was we both had a bishop part, but just with this pawn structure. So this is what I would have played. And like this, he has played d6 and d5, so he could have played more quicker. Yeah.
But anyway, he played a5, and I think because of this, you have this structure where you have a passer on the b file for no compensation. I think it's already very pleasant for you. Yeah.
No, now I was happy here in this position, but then I'm not sure if I played. Here I was, because this is what I've been playing for, to have this pawn on b5. This is what I always wanted to go for. Have this pawn on b5 for the end games. So, and now...
and then he played d5.
I played e4.
And then this is a mistake according to the computer. Yeah, yeah. To be
I
honest,
expect the knight b6 as a rook a8. Yeah, rook a8 could maybe be a move. Yeah, I expect the actual knight b6, but maybe rook a8 is a logical move. But rook a8 is a very difficult move
rook
to
8,
play.
yeah.
No, no,
Oh,
rook
okay,
a8.
this one,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
this
very
one.
difficult because where is the knight going? But after e5, you have knight h5, but it's not such a easy.
It's not easy.
It's not such a human move when you had g6, knight g7, you're coming back there.
Yeah,
But this is not very because after g3 we open up for the diagonal. But anyway, it's not very. I would say it's not easy move to make this. Yeah, if you go d4, I don't know. I guess I will go.
You put something on this.
I will put something on e4 here. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe rook a1 first. Even,
I will start rook a1
Yeah.
and then something to e4. Yeah, that's what I probably will bring. Yeah, but
he made it easier for you, and he took the pawn on c4, and then now you have your knight on the center.
Yeah.
And after knight b6, you
Knight
put
d5.
the other knight.
Here and rook d1. Now I play rook. What did I play?
Bishop c3. You
Yeah,
play
play bishop c3. Yeah, because bishop f5. And now he played his maneuver, bishop f6. Maybe that's not. I expected maybe queen b8, but queen b8. I guess I will go b6. No, queen b8. I will go b6. Yeah, I will
you
go
want to
b.
go here, yeah?
I think I will go b6 and rook b1. And
Rook b1, yes,
And
yes.
before very well. This is what, and his pieces are quite cramped. So maybe bishop f6 was a way of trying to get
Provoke this pawn, and then the bishop on a8 is alive.
So e5. Bishop is
and then in this position, yeah, you play rook b1. Did you miss the queen d5 idea, or was it in your calculation?
No, I forgot about this. So maybe should I go bishop a5?
There's one funny line here. You can go rook here,
rook
because after this, you just simply take this, queen takes, and then you take this bishop.
Queen e4.
Queen e4 is
yeah, queen
coming.
e4 I've been seeing.
Yeah.
I saw it, not in this position, but I saw it before.
Yeah.
So, okay, so maybe rook a1.
Rook a1 is the best, because
rook a1, yeah.
You're not
A1.
allowing knight b6 to happen.
Yeah. Don't allow it. Yeah. No, I forgot about it.
because-
I forgot about knight b6. I didn't see that. So rook a1 is, this is a mistake. Rook a1. No, I understood that I went wrong after knight b6.
Yeah.
Then I understood this was wrong.
I also missed knight b6 because I thought after bishop f5, that's it. But then I forgot to see there's queen d5 and so on.
So rook a1 is a good move.
Yeah.
And
Or
then
rook d1 as well. Rook d1 is fine too.
Yeah, rook d1, but I guess he go queen b8 then.
Yeah, I
So,
think it's queen b8. But
because I don't want to take this. No, I cannot also do rook d8 and that. No, so I think he will go this and knight b6 up. But I guess this is.
What's wrong with taking this?
I can take a rook take d7. Yes,
Yeah.
but in the end, there is no mate. I have bishop e1. Yeah, this is fine. Taking rook takes d7 is fine here. This is fine.
Yeah, but rook a1 is the best move here.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, rook a1 is very logical.
Here you play rook d1, knight b6. Yeah, you have to go to this line.
Yes, here.
And then
Queen
here,
d7 and now I took here,
Yeah,
So now
this is the best move actually. Bishop takes b6.
Yeah, I think so, because this would be as wonderful if we didn't have the white square bishop. But with the white square bishop, it's just different because he has this square on d5. Yeah, no, I understood that I had blundered when I went, but I didn't really realize what I should have done. But I understood when he go knight b6, because after rook b1, I saw knight b6 and queen d5, but I didn't look at this idea before.
Before that, yeah. Okay.
So he played queen b8, and where is queen b7? I would have gone f3. This was my plan. So what was the better move for him to play?
Queen b7. I think
I
he
would have
should
gone
done
f3.
F3, yeah, I thought so too.
And then, but he has to move again, and then I will go.
Probably it's also a provocation, so that there might be some check along d4 at some point.
Yeah, there will be some checks.
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
queen d7.
Yeah,
but
maybe queen d7.
But I wanted to go rook e3 here in this way. Queen e3 I wanted to go.
Queen e3, okay.
This is what because I want to change pieces, yes. So this is what I wanted to do. But this is not the same position as I had before.
Yeah.
It's just different.
So
there was
b8.
I played
allows you
b,
to play b6, and after this,
you play
queen
queen
b2. I think it's very solid with
this
the queen b2.
Yeah, I think
And
f6
f6.
was a mistake. Yeah, that surprised me very much. I thought f6 was a mistake because now he gets weakness on e6. So that's what I thought. I expect him to go something like rook d8 or something. This is what I thought he was going to do, rook d8 instead of f6.
And here
And
you just
this,
push.
I
Yeah, this is
pushed
a good
to-
decision. And yeah, this I
takes.
don't understand as well, like taking this taking this knight, because then after takes, I mean, your bishop is superior, like really, really good compared to the bishop on e7.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a little bit this rule when we play different color bishop. If we have the initiative, it can only be good to have different color bishop because there's still heavy pieces on the board. Without the heavy pieces, it is completely different. But with the heavy pieces, it's just so strong. So I think also I was very surprised I was surprised with f6, and I was very surprised
With
with the
bishop c4.
yeah.
And here after takes, I think it's just some technicality to win. I mean,
queen d6
here, and after here. Okay, bishop c7 should be like forced move, but I was also surprised to see rook here because it's just
he needs to go king f8.
And
King
f8,
yeah, he has to go king f8, and after bishop c8 he has king e7. And I wanted to go. My plan was
maybe
to go
be free.
I can go queen. Yeah, queen b3, queen e6. Oh, queen b3. Oh no, this is killing. This is absolutely. This is absolutely finished. So, he will need to go some maybe e4, but I go g3, and this is just finished. I can start with g3. Actually, I can even start with g3 here.
With
in this
g3, just play very principled.
Yeah, because you can never go queen c7. I take rook take d6.
Yes.
So it's just. So maybe you would need to go e4, and I can go queen b3 then. So we will have this. But this is also fantastic.
This is fantastic finish.
Yeah, to play. This is a dream. Yeah.
Yeah, but then after bishop c8 here, your opponent resigned, and I mean it's a double attack. The rook and the bishop, you cannot really protect them at the same time now, and then your b7 pawn turned to be like really your winning point.
Yeah, exactly. It's just overloading all of a sudden pieces.
Exactly.
Cannot defend. So this is what he was hoping to just somehow maybe get the bishop to b8 and to create some counterplay, but he never got that.
Yeah. Well, it's such a beautiful game. I like how instructive you're explaining everything to me. Like some of the things for me is quite random, but for you it's very certain. Yeah, you have to go here. You have to go here. For me, I still have to really like that. I have to calculate and double check again. But it's always it's amazing the way how you calculate, the way how you make your decision. It's really a learning process to me. But before I let you go, I want to have your take on your husband's game. Is it stressful for you to watch your husband's game?
Is this the game now?
It is. It is the game now.
What a position. 1
second.
What a position he has. Fantastic.
Okay.
He has a pawn more, but what pawns 4 against 1? This looks fantastic with the knight on d4.
I can change the camera. Oh, they just it just happened. And
king f8 was played here now.
Just resigned. His opponent just resigned.
He has resigned. Yes. Because it's such a fantastic. Oh, these pawns. He's a very creative player, so I saw that he showed me his game yesterday, and I think he has played very, very well yesterday in the end game. He knew exactly where to put the pieces and what pieces to exchange. So it was just very, very nice. No, he's a very artistic player, and he's like. When he's at his best, he is just dangerous for lots of players, but he's of course up and down. But
he's still playing very interesting chess. Like I really learned from his games from yesterday too. Like very I would say very principled, but in a way very creative. So it's like a very good combination. He's playing his theory from the opening, but starting from middle game, he shows his creativity. And then also in the middle game, whenever there is no tactics on the board, he shows his positional understanding. So that's really, really a good combo. Well, congratulations for both of you. It's a happy day.
Yeah, it's a happy day.
It's a happy day. So I'm going to let you go and have your dinner. And hopefully tomorrow you can keep winning your games, because I'll be watching. I've been telling my viewers that you are my favorite player of the tournament, so I will always watch you wherever you are sitting.
Okay, thank you so much. I just try to get myself into mood to feel the happiness for playing, because I think in general this is what it's all about, to be to enjoy the game we are playing, and then sometimes it works well, sometimes it doesn't go one's way. So just to keep on fighting.
Okay, hopefully I can get you again in my studio at some of the days, and congratulations once again, and best of luck for the coming rounds.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Guys, I will wrap this up, but before... Oh, thank you, Pia. Yeah, so it is a very good day at the office, I would say. Oops, let me get this one again. All right, let's go. Okay, that was such a wonderful time with Pia. I'm really happy to have her in my stream, and I hope you do too, because, well, it's such an honor to have her too. So let's wrap this up, because I think that was such a good note to finish, having Pia on my stream. And let's come back to the first board just to wrap everything up. So on the first board, finally, we saw a draw happens on the game between Hammer versus Korpa here. Yeah, and both of the games are already finished, so the boards are empty, the chairs are empty. And here, after a4, knight c4, and then rook c8. Okay, let's quickly take a look what's happening. So they're making repetition on this move and agree for draw. And on the second board, yes, Frode Urkedal went on winning this game because of the blunder that Gretarsson made on the 29th move. After f5, bishop takes f5, and then bishop f7. And then after that, queen g3 and queen d8 and queen g4. Yeah, it's just some technicality to do in this one. And then after this, f4, just, ooh, queen d2 is a mistake, but I think I can understand why, because black has been in time trouble. So queen d2 just takes on g5. Yes, next move is a check to the king on g8. And after check this, there's nothing else. Bishop c5, okay. Trying to attack this, but I think the black's king is going to get mated soon, like bishop e7, and that's it. Because the king has to go here, and then you have this bishop check. Or if you do something bishop like bishop g6, you can just grab this bishop for free on c5. So that's it for the second round. Sorry, the second board. And then here we have, okay, this game has been quite equalish from the beginning, and probably they're going to, actually, who's better in this position? Probably this is still equal anyway. After queen takes here, knight takes here, and then king f2, which just happened actually. And then the knight will somehow get this pawn, and this knight will get to this pawn. And then on the fourth board, we have Sebastian Bochner versus Isaac Storm. And okay, this position is still very wild, so I'm just gonna see what is the fall bar. Roughly equal. Yeah, I think this is going to be quite a long game. And on the fifth board, Sheila has lost. And let's just quickly take a look what's happened in the game. So eventually, the end game with so many extra pawns, white won the game. And after this takes, yeah, so many extra pawns on the queen side, takes here. But now, when the rooks are exchanged, almost no hope for black anymore. And yeah, I think. Oh, okay. I have another guest. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Okay, we have Hammer on the studio. Okay, I'll put us on a little break while I'm setting up the chairs. So I'll see you guys in less than a minute, probably. Hello everyone. Wow, today is a very special day. I just had Pia in studio, and now we have none other than Hammer himself. So thank you for being here. It's an honor to have you here. So let's talk about a bit about your game, because there are some questions that I'd like to also ask in this position. Oh, not in this position, in this game actually. Because first of all, we saw this position, and I actually gave my prediction that it's gonna be like a quick draw. Because we've seen so many games like this which end up, as a draw quicker. So here, yeah, in this position, you took some time to play rook c1. What was your plan in this position?
I mean, I was trying to recollect the different variations. I played this system as black, and we also spent some time working on it for the 2014 World Championship versus Vichy in Chennai. But I played it for black, and we were prepping it for black back then. So most of my knowledge is from black's point of view, but I kind of figure that if you know the opening, you can play it with both colors. And here I was basically trying to decide, because most of the prep work I've done lately has been for Botes. And we prepped something like this for her. And then I couldn't remember the thing, and that was my problem. I remember we looked at some early
d5
pawn to d5, which has been pretty popular lately, also at top level. I want to say Anish won a game against Nepo, something like that. Or maybe the other way around. But that is my problem. I couldn't recollect the specific things. And then I also played this in the Norway chess qualifier, 2015, when I got to play there for the second time. And before that qualifier, I played some training blitz games against Magnus. So we discussed this position quite a bit, and I got a draw off him with the black pieces, amongst many losses. And he always seemed to prefer this rook to c1, and basically his theory was that, yeah, it's probably a draw, but it's always going to be a bit more pleasant for white, and especially if you can combine something like queen f4 and rook to c7. There's some variations where you can do this stuff, and in general, even though you normally play bishop to c4, your problem is that very often you end up having to defend this pawn on e4 afterwards. Right. And so the idea behind rook c1 is that you want to go bishop d3, but if you do that immediately, you allow your opponent to target the d4 pawn. So rook to c1 is kind of supposed to be this tricky move. Because now if black plays normally with knight d7, b6, bishop b7, I get to play bishop d3 without that pressure against the d4 pawn. But then he went knight c6 anyway.
Yeah. And that's why you made the waiting move h4, isn't it? What's the idea?
No, because here I was kind of blank. I just know that you're not really supposed to put the knight on c6 immediately when it's not putting pressure against the pawn. But I didn't really know what you're supposed to do. I talked to my opponent afterwards, and he was like, well, bishop b5 is the move. And I was like, yeah, I seem to remember that. But the problem is after bishop to d7, you have to go bishop to e2. And I couldn't make sense of allowing black this extra move, bishop to d7, because I kind of felt like that could be an improvement of his position. It is a developing move after all. And the problem here is that if you try to castle instead, you get hit by knight takes d4.
Oh, the queen is hanging there, yeah?
Actually, maybe this doesn't work. Maybe you can just take here. Okay, it turns out I have no idea what I'm saying. During the game, I convinced myself there was some knight takes d4 and I needed to move the bishop again. But now looking at it, I'm wondering...
Or maybe instead of knight after castle, instead of... you have knight e5.
Yeah, interesting point.
Yeah, maybe this equalizes it quickly.
Yeah, no, but this feels pretty nice for white though.
Okay.
I don't know. Could be. I wouldn't mind playing that. So here I started thinking, okay, I'm gonna be creative. I'm gonna go h4.
Yeah.
And my thinking was that after queen d6, now I can go bishop b5, and after bishop d7, then I can castle, and somehow pushing this is always gonna be useful for me. And now with the queen on d6, maybe that queen is a bit awkwardly placed. And now if knight to d4, which I was afraid of,
You
for
can
some
take
reason.
the queen, yeah?
I can take with the queen, and the pressure against the queen is the difference. And when I get to recapture, I defend the bishop. So yeah, that was what I thought. And then he played queen b6, and I was like, yeah, I was kind of embarrassed here.
Yeah, so
Because now it's like there's no bishop b5. There's no way of getting rid of this knight. The pressure against d4 is coming in really quickly. And I couldn't figure out how to deal with this. And at this point, I was kind of concerned that I might be worse. And the more time I spent, the more I didn't feel great about what I was finding. Nor was I really so. But yeah, I tried looking at. I was trying to calculate some pawn sacrifice like this. And I couldn't make it work for me. I was looking at some queen g5.
But it doesn't work. Queen d4 is always there, yeah?
Well, queen d4, I can always go e5. But the thing is, you just have king
you just
f8.
walk. Okay.
So yeah, I just... I couldn't really get the pawn sacrifices to work. And, if you... Once you make a pawn sacrifice, you're very, very committed to it. So
you play e5.
I played e5 because I need to stop. There are some variations where something like bishop c4, d5, something like this. Or maybe I was even thinking something like rook d1. But the point is e5, d5, and then bishop to g4. And all of this stuff becomes quite uncomfortable with black getting their knight to the d4 square.
Can you make knight g5 work, or is it just a dream, in this position?
I don't think so.
You don't think so, yeah?
No.
Like after knight g5, maybe you can just let it go and then just take on d4, yeah?
Yeah. So, what I realized after a while was that I kind of needed to go e5 to prevent all of these pawn to e5 ways of increasing the pressure. And then I just defended the pawn. He went queen b4, which I thought was the best move, to be honest.
Oh yeah, there is one question, sorry, in this position. Are you still looking to play for a win? Because there is just some simple repetition by queen b1, rook c1, queen b6 again, and rook c4. I think rook c4 is objectively the best move in the position, but you're not getting out of anything here, like it's pretty much equal.
I thought at best it's just an instant draw, which I wasn't super happy with. But I also couldn't be bothered looking at this
queen
stuff.
e3.
Queen e3. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. I didn't see queen e3. Yeah, no, I wasn't really interested in a draw. But because I'm half a point behind, right?
Yeah.
And I'm playing with my third white in 4 games. But yeah, I didn't like my position. But I thought it's fine somehow, because I thought queen b4 was the best move, and apparently computer says it's not the best. And I was pretty happy with how I played here, because after king takes, I thought it's kind of flashy, and sometimes you play flashy moves just to be flashy. But I kind of liked it, because I felt like if I take with the rook, I'm having some problems coordinating this rook over to the queen side. So by taking with the king, I had some kind of vague idea that it would be easier for me to just shuffle both rooks. And my king could easily move up afterwards. And I'm assuming knight takes d4 is just bad.
Yes, bad. King e3, and then...
Because this just looks... Well, I guess here maybe
bishop b5,
something like this. But I'm assuming this is good for me somehow. I thought worst case I could just take and even